After battling the Mavericks last night in San Antonio, the Spurs are in Minneapolis tonight to face Al Jefferson and the Timberwolves on FSN Southwest. The face of the Minnesota Timberwolves franchise for a dozen years was all-star Kevin Garnett. Without much support, KG was never able to carry the Wolves consistently deep in the playoffs. That changed in Boston. But in his wake, Al Jefferson emerged as the new young franchise player in Minneapolis, and he rarely disappointed, averaging 21 points and 11 rebounds. Now with injury-free point guard in Randy Foye, newly acquired Mike Miller, and first-round draft choice Kevin Love from UCLA, the Wolves think they're ready to compete in the West and will be a challenge for the Spurs tonight. Welcome to balmy Minneapolis, Minnesota for Spurs basketball on FSN Southwest. It's a road game for the Spurs tonight against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The T-Wolves are 1-2. The Spurs, after their loss to Dallas last night, have started off the campaign 0-3. Welcome, everyone. Bill Lamb with you here. Spurs try to get that first win of the season here tonight, and maybe for one of the first times ever, they're excited about a first back-to-back of the season. As I welcome my partner, Sean Elliott. Some folks in San Antonio panicking. This team will get it done, though.
What? I mean, with all these new guys, no Manu Ginobili, you kind of had to expect that something not so good was going to happen to start the season. But trust me, these guys, once they get in sync, they get it together, there's going to be a heck of a ball club.
The T-Wolves have changed gears a little bit after last year's 22-win season. They've got Mike Miller with the club. They've got an outstanding rookie in Kevin Love. Sebastian Telfair comes back from a brief suspension. He'll be in the lineup tonight. But make no mistake, the guy is Al Jefferson.
Yeah, it all centers around him. This guy is, admittedly, he studied Tim Duncan. He has terrific footwork around the basket, can step outside, shoot it about 15, 18 feet, and he's got one of the best jump hooks in this game. He's got a tremendous touch. He's a solid rebounder, gets in position. He's not the most athletic player, but at the end of the night, he's almost assured of having a double-double.
No question, he is a big part of what they do here. Tim and Tony have been leading the way scoring-wise for the Spurs. They also got some help from some of the young guys last night with Roger Mason Jr. in double figures and rookie George Hill making his debut with 11. Stay with us. Coming up next, we'll join Rick Renner for the Toyota Truck Game Break. You're watching Spurs basketball on Fox Sports Southwest. San Antonio Spurs basketball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Jack in the Box, where we don't make it till you order it. By Southwest Airlines, low fare, no hidden fees. By Progressive, making insurance better. Call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE today. And by your Texas Ford dealers, Ford is the best in Texas. Back in Minneapolis, the Spurs and head coach Greg Popovich gearing up for the contest with the Timberwolves. The T-Wolves 1-2, the Spurs 0-3 as Pop gets his ball club ready for the first back-to-back of the season as they complete part 2. And Southwest Airlines with our starting lineup. The Spurs, Matt Bonner again the call up front with Duncan and Bowen, Michael Finley and Tony Parker in the backcourt. Parker and Duncan, 26 point per game average through 3 games to place 3rd in the NBA. And Randy Whitman is the head coach of the Timberwolves. His 3rd year here, 35-92. He also had a stay in Cleveland as a head coach prior to coming here as a longtime assistant. And Southwest Airlines starting lineup for the T-Wolves. You see Brewer and the gang there, and Mike Miller, who came over from Memphis, and Randy Foye to anchor the backcourt. Foye has been in a severe shooting slump to start the season, 3 of 24 in the last 2 ball games. And my partner Sean Elliott steps in for the Miller game plan.
Well, it's quite simple. I mean, I can come up with all kinds of stats and say this and that. No, get her done. I mean, we've talked about the loss of Manu Ginobili, how the Spurs have been shorthanded. They knew that they're going to have to tread water at the beginning of this season. But if you want to hang around and not get your head below the water, you've got to win ball games like this tonight.
And our Lincoln Mercury Better View matchup tonight as the Spurs try to get their first W of the season. And we have Duncan and Jefferson.
Well, Al Jefferson, we've talked at length about him. He's just terrific in the low block, but Tim Duncan looks like he looked 5 years ago. He's moving extremely well, and he knows that he's got to shoulder a huge load on the offensive end of the court.
Tim had 19 points, 15 rebounds in the loss to Dallas last night, where the Spurs game was really decided in the first half, if not the first quarter. They got down 18 at the half. Mavs shooting 56% and the Spurs 36%. Eventually, it was a 23-point deficit cut to 7. And then finally, the Spurs fall 98-81. Meanwhile, the T-Wolves were home resting after their most recent outing, which was a loss at Oklahoma City. Duncan with a miss, fighting for the rebound, and coming away with it is Randy Foye, averaging 7 points, 3 boards, and 5 assists per game.
Yeah, that first quarter really cost them last night because they had a big spark there in the fourth, but they just took so much of their energy to get back in the ball game.
The T-Wolves last game losing to the Thunder 88-85 in Oklahoma City at the appropriately now nicknamed Thunderdome. 2 on the shot clock. Jefferson the miss, rebound to Finley.
I think the Spurs are going to see how Al Jefferson comes out. If he's on fire, they're going to start to hit him in the low block. Send some double teams, some different looks at him.
Parker, Finley, then Duncan, and Tim in trouble coming up with it, but a lot of reach, and Brewer comes back the other way quickly. Here is Foye, and now Jefferson. Wanted to go to Miller. Miller is yet to get the three-point shooting uncranked, and you always got to be aware of that. Inside, and 3 seconds is called on the offense that time, as the violation given back to the Spurs. Dan Crawford, Curtis Blair, and Derek Stafford calling the shots here tonight.
One too many moves down there in the low block. Al Jefferson's got to get that ball out of his hands.
Here's Tony Parker with it. Bonner gives it right back. 10:46 to go here. First quarter just underway as Parker probing away. Bowen gives it up quickly. Now Finley with 7 on the shot clock. Bowen on the drive, and Bruce called for the walk. Spurs have averaged just 9 turnovers a game, but they've only forced a little more than 7 a contest through the first 3. Don't get too carried away with any team numbers just a couple of games in, but certainly they want to hit the boards harder than they have.
Sure. But they've been shorthanded. When Jan comes back, that's going to help them big time. Along with Fab, of course.
Parker leading the break. And Tony forcing the issue and drives and scores, and the Spurs get on the board first.
I'll take that with Tony Parker in the open court anytime.
Out of bounds, it'll go to the Wolves. Another look at Tony leading the way.
And being shorthanded, Tony's got to force the action sometimes, especially in the open court. Right here, Brewer doesn't stand a chance. Tony Parker goes right through him.
Out of bounds that time for Brewer, and the Spurs will get it right back.
Now, the Spurs really have to create their own energy here. There's not a lot of people. I don't know what they're going to announce the crowd at, but there can't be more than 5,000 people in this arena right now.
The upper deck is empty here. The T-Wolves last year winning just 22 games, going 22-60. And Tom Hanneman, a longtime announcer, has told me beforehand, he said, so how's it feel being 0-3 with this team? He said, don't feel bad. Last year, he said, we had 6 5-game losing streaks or longer by Martin Luther King Day. He said, so don't come in here looking for sympathy as Randy Whitman tries to get this thing turned around.
It puts it all in perspective how spoiled we are. We lose 3 games, we start panicking, everybody starts selling everything.
Spurs' last 0-3 start was the 73-74 season. First year in San Antonio in the ABA. George Gervin wasn't even with the team yet. He came over in mid-season that year. Tom Nasalki was the coach. Parker with a miss here. Minnesota's 0-4. Both teams a little chilly getting it going here on what has been a beautiful November day here in Minnesota. Gomes with a miss, and Bowen will bring it back.
This game right now has the atmosphere of a summer league game.
Well, with the crowd of such, like you say, a player's going to have to make their own energy here. Tim gives it up to Parker. Tony off the screen. Duncan, nice job of keeping alive. Miller, great effort. Tony nearly swiped it. Foye brings it back. Jefferson. And Finley with the rebound. They are 0-6 from the floor. Jefferson knocks it away and give him a steal.
Good hands there. Might have got a piece of Timmy's arm.
Brewer blows the layup. They've been shooting restless. They're shooting 43% on the season. That's what they shot at Oklahoma City the other night. They had a 12-point lead in that game in the third quarter and got outscored 18-12 in the fourth and ended up falling by 3. Well, the Spurs hardly burning it up at 1 of 6 themselves so far here tonight.
I think the fans might cheer if we score a basket.
That's what sees of offense. Miller, deep 3. Mike Miller averages 16 a game last year for Memphis and a 40% lifetime three-point shooter. He's just 2 of 9 on the season now. Watch out. He can get it going. Tony spins it up with the left.
Wow, what a play there by Tony Parker. He's got a larger defender on him who has long arms than Brewer, and he's able to double pump and put that ball off the glass with some English with his left hand.
Miller again with a jumper and knocks it down. Well, Mike Miller, unlike, or just like I should say, Sean, some of the Spurs new players coming over here, not wanting to force the action because normally this guy will shoot any time and should, but it's taken him a while to get used to his new teammates.
Well, he should be firing the ball up every time he touches it, the way he shoots the basketball.
Parker comes back and Tony makes it a 6-5 game. He's got the first 6 for the Spurs. Foye out front to Gomes, and now here's Miller again, going for 3 in a row, off the iron to Bonner.
Now, it's great defense there by Bruce Bowen. He was all over that play, didn't allow Mike Miller any comfort in taking that shot.
Parker again.
Oh
my, he comes up, looks like he's going to go left, and slips it with a right scoop.
Puts it right under the arm of Randy Foye, who played terrific defense, just better offense by Tony.
So the Spurs looking for help for Tony and Tim. Well, tonight it's all Tony. The first 8 for the Spurs. Gomes, fadeaway won't go. Duncan retrieves, outlet to Parker. Brewer on him, and Brewer came in known as an outstanding defender. No defense for what Tony's been putting on him.
No, that was fantastic. Great cut down the middle of the lane, puts it right underneath the arm of Randy Foye. Doesn't matter, big or small, Tony Parker is abusing defenders on a regular basis.
Welcome back, 8-5 Spurs. Tony Parker with all 8 for San Antonio against the Timberwolves here in Minnesota. And our forward back tonight, talk about winning. Most wins since 1997 regular season. Wow. Look at that as far as individual players. Tim Duncan at the top, Bruce Bowen number 5. And a little bit of margin over Steve Nash and Rasheed Wallace. Robert Horry, of course, on the sideline for the time being.
Just a little bit of a margin.
Wow, fantastic. Tony Parker has been fantastic to start this game for the Spurs.
Well, early on in this season, he's been spectacular, and he's had to carry a lot of the scoring burden, obviously because Manu Ginobili being out. Tim Duncan starting to see more double teams. Tony Parker came out tonight. He's been aggressive. He's shooting the jump shot. He's penetrating the lane. He knows he's got to score to keep his team in it.
Tony 4 of 6 to start the game. Subs come in here as Kevin Love is on the floor for the first time for the Timberwolves. Oh, going driving and knocked away that time.
That was great recovery there by Brewer. What about the head fake by Tony Parker? This beautiful hesitation.
Jefferson can't go, and Duncan comes down with it. The Timberwolves are 2 of 12 from the floor. Love is guarding Bonner now. Finley with it out front with Miller on him, and Parker has Brewer with that long reach trying to keep him at bay. Finley off the back iron. Bonner and Miller collide and out of bounds and go back to Minnesota, and the Spurs will sub with Alberto and Mason. Kevin Love's father played for the Spurs, had a stroll down the Riverwalk back in the 74-75 season. 12 games. Stan out of University of Oregon, and Kevin, the All-American at UCLA, and a guy that folks are really excited about his all-around game. Miller.
It's amazing to me how guys go from college to the NBA. They go through the spin cycle and extra hot because they shrink. And Kevin Love was listed at 6'10" in college. He can't be more than 6'7" or 6'8".
Yeah, they're still listing him as 6'10". But
yeah, okay.
I would agree
He's
with you.
6'10", I'm 7'1". Okay.
Well, you were playing Shaq in practice, you told me last week.
That's right.
Anything's possible. Or so Kevin Garnett says. Pop looks on with the 3-second violation called against the Timberwolves, and Roger Mason Jr. will go to the free throw line. What a start he is off to as a Spurs. 70% from the floor and from three-point range through 3 games.
Well, like I said earlier, his only problem is he hasn't gotten enough shots up. And he's looking for him.
Yeah, Mason coming in 10 of 14 from the floor through the first 2, and then last night was impressive again with double figures once again. Finley. Mike can't get it to go. Jefferson comes down with a rebound. Jefferson's 3rd carom of the night. He's a double-double machine, this guy's. Averaging 11.7, 4th in the league, and where they're going. And Love shows you a little bit of versatility there, making it 9-9.
That's what he's known for in college. He can step outside. He's got 3-point range, and he's a beast in the low block.
The one thing in college that he would remind you of is he's got an outlet pass that would make you think of Wes Unseld.
Oh, yeah. He had a number last year that were just simply, they were Walton-ish.
Parker with a miss. Jefferson with a rebound. Foye to bring it back for the Timberwolves. Even at 9, 4:05 to go in the first. Telfair is getting ready to check in for the first time this season for Minnesota. Miller again. 3 is good. Minnesota.
He's one of those guys, when he gets it going, you can't give him an inch of daylight.
Parker. Mason. A 2 for Roger Mason.
He just shoots that ball so effortlessly. He comes off that screen. He doesn't even square up all the way to the basket, and it's gone.
Miller, a deep 3 in this one. Saying, well, not that hot.
That's a little bit of a heat check there.
Tony going through the lane, finds Finley for a 3 ball. Can't go for Mike again.
Oh, you can't ask for a better attempt. Just terrific penetration by Tony Parker, forcing the issue in transition, finding his teammates.
Here is Jefferson. Nice spin on Fab, couldn't finish though, and Mason scoops up the rebound. Creating his own. Miller with a rebound. Miller twice has made 9 threes in a game while he was at Memphis. So Sean talking about you better keep an eye on him. Timeout is called here. It is 12-11. Timberwolves lead the Spurs. Watch it on Fox Sports Southwest. T-Wolves with a 12-11 lead, 2:48 to go in the first quarter on FSN Southwest. Bill and Sean Elliott with you here in Minnesota. This week, College Football Saturday presented by KFC. Akron Suzuki returns with a triple header. Starts with Baylor and 4th-ranked Texas. Then Stanford will battle Oregon and Pac-10 showdown, followed by Kansas State taking on 14th-ranked Missouri. Coverage begins Saturday at 10:30 a.m. in high definition. There's Telfair coming back for the T-Wolves. Sebastian Telfair was suspended for the first 3 games of this season due to some off-the-court problems, and they figure that he will push Randy Foye. They've been a little disappointed. It's only 3 games. You have to remember that, but Foye averaging 7 points, 3 rebounds a game, and he missed 43 games last year with a knee injury, and they thought he'd get off to a better start this year. And Telfair gives him a change of pace guy. But right now, Miller is the guy to contend with as he drives strong to the bucket. He has 12 of their 14 shots.
That's a good play coming out of timeout for the Timberwolves. Give it to Miller, let him run off a screen. He gets all the way to the basket. Right now, the Spurs don't really have any shot blockers out there. Haven't blocked a lot of shots all year long. That time was an easy one for Miller.
Miller 5 of 8. The rest of the team 1 of 11. Meanwhile, the Spurs are 5 of 16, and Parker's got 4 of their 5 field goals. Roger Mason from Kurt Thomas, and a foul call. Spurs come back with Udoka, Mason, Parker, Roberto, and Kurt Thomas on the floor.
Now you look at that group out there right now for the Spurs, and Roger Mason's got to force the issue. Tony Parker's scoring all the points right now. Mason is the only other guy out there who has the ability to create shots for himself and other players.
On the release, guys.
14-12 as Roger hits the free throw. Mason coming in, 11 against Dallas, 14 Portland, and a dozen against Phoenix. Good consistency to start the year. Love can't quite finish inside. Good contest by the Spurs group defense.
Yeah, that's what I thought about Kevin Love when he first got drafted. How is he going to get his shot off?
Roberto gets the easy one the other way as the Spurs quickly move it up the floor.
And there you see Fab giving the Spurs what they lacked early on in the season here, an easy basket. He knows how to run the spots, the open spot, and get an easy one.
Brewer way off the mark. Brewer shooting not his strong suit, averaged just under 6 a game in his rookie year out of Florida last year.
Tony's trying to sell this for the Spurs, and he might have won. There you see Fab scoring that easy basket. Doing a terrific job running the court, and that ball looked like it was off Tony Parker, but he was convincing enough. I've seen him in his Mafia game when he has game night at his house. He can trick you.
What a competitor, I'll tell you. Some people don't realize that about Tony. Makes things look so easy sometimes. Parker, the outside jumper, and Tony hits the three. And Parker.
How about that?
Great start.
Corey Brewer didn't expect that. He didn't read that in the scouting report.
Tony made one last night against Dallas and gets one here, and the Spurs have a 4-point lead. A foul called the other end on Fabricio Roberto. With 1:12 to go in the first quarter, Spurs enjoying a 7-0 run. Smith will go to the line. Craig Smith out of Boston College. Nicknamed Rhino, and does it fit?
Yeah.
I don't think his middle name's Ryan.
He's big enough. I mean, we've talked about him numerous times over the years. That's why I'm happy I'm sitting over here. If I ever had to guard that guy, forget about it.
And you talk about dimensions as Tim comes back in, and Fabricio, just his second game after the irregular heartbeat was discovered, bringing him along slowly. And there's the rookie George Hill, made his debut in the NBA with an 11-point performance last night. 15-plus minutes against the Mavs.
Oh, they're already so impressed with George Hill and the way he played last night. Pop wants to throw him out there. He wants to throw a little salt and pepper on him, get him seasoned. It's time where the rubber meets the road. Forget about practice. Got to get the rookie out there, get him some experience.
250-pound Craig Smith hits both free throws, and it's now 18-16 Spurs. Mason to Duncan with Love, the rookie, on Timmy. Love with the rebound. Telfair with George Hill on him, and the foul is called on George.
I'll tell you what, George is going to be a big-time defender. We talked about his arms last night, but he has excellent footwork. He can move his feet, extremely athletic, quick. You put all that together with Pop, it's going to jump down his throat. If he's not playing defense, he's going to be a heck of a defender when it's all said and done.
Telfair, 77% in his career from the line, hits this one. Want to remind you, if you want to be a Pizza Hut ball kid, visit any San Antonio area Pizza Hut location to register. Kids 7 to 14 are eligible. Help the Spurs warm up before home games. The AT&T Center. One winner each game receives 4 tickets, introduction on the scoreboard, and get to high-five the team as the Pizza Hut ball kit. Always Spurs.com, the place to go to check out all that's going on with the promotions. And don't forget, Spurs home Friday against Miami. We're seeing a rookie in Love tonight. We'll see another outstanding rookie in Beasley with Miami, and a healthy Dwayne Wade coming to town. Ime Udoka with a miss. Thomas back out to Hill, and he'll reset with a fresh 24 and about a second differential game clock, shot clock to finish the first.
All right, take your time here. Just normally where you put the ball in the hands of Manu Ginobili or Tony Parker, let Mason work his magic.
Mason with it out front. Camps on him, and the foul. They had one to give.
Now you see Roger Mason's game, the way he can put the ball on the floor and go anywhere he wants. And the only other guys that we've had over the years on the perimeter that could do that were obviously Manu and Tony. Now you have a guy who can mix it up on the perimeter, create some fouls, get himself to the foul line, or get shots for other players out there.
And Tony Parker comes in, Pop quickly shuffling here, and Michael Finley as Hill and Thomas go out. 6 seconds to go. Parker with Telfair on him, and Tony tried to kick it off to Udoka, and off of Mike Miller, caught his thumb.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
You never want to see anybody get hurt, but it's a shooting hand.
Hey, when you're with 3, go ahead and get hurt. As long as not our guys, right? As Miller, 5 of 8 here in the first quarter tonight for a dozen points. Mason, a second. Long for the block. And we're tied at 18 to end the first quarter here in Minnesota. The T-Wolves 1-2, the Spurs 0-3. Duncan and the Spurs even at 18. Parker, a great first quarter for San Antonio with 11. We'll be back for the second quarter on FS Southwest in a moment. San Antonio Spurs basketball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. And by your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Welcome back to the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where the Spurs and the Minnesota Timberwolves are deadlocked at 18 in a first quarter that saw the two standouts, Jefferson and Duncan, go a combined 0 of 7 from the floor. It was Parker and Miller for the Spurs and the T-Wolves respectively leading the way with double-figure quarters. Tony 11 on 5 of 9 shooting, and Miller a dozen points on 5 of 8 shooting.
Yeah, we spent all that time talking up the two big stars. They're offers.
Here is Telfair. Can't hit. Rebound comes off to Duncan. Hill gives to Roger Mason Jr. T-Wolves 29% shooting. The Spurs 33% before that shot that wouldn't go, as both teams trying to find the offensive range here in the early going. Foye, nice kickoff. Smith gets through the lane and scores.
Yeah, once he catches the basketball, you have the head of steam on him. Forget about it. You don't want to get in front of the Rhino.
Smith last year averaged 9 points, 4 boards a game in 77 games, 11 starts. Third year out of Boston College. Spurs come right back to the bucket from Ime Udoka.
They're going to need a lot of scoring out of Ime.
Udoka averaging 3 points, 4 boards a game in the first 3.
Yeah, he's had a few shots early on in this season that looked like he didn't quite have his legs underneath him, hitting the front of the rim, but he can score the ball.
Telfair comes back. It's 22-20 on his bucket. Timberwolves by a deuce. Thomas, Hill, Mason, Udoka, Duncan on the floor for the Spurs. Mason out front, in the point. He and Hill can be interchangeable there. Different combinations that Pop's looking at here in the early going this season. Roger Mason with the basket.
And I like that play right there because the Rhino had to drop off of that screen. He's waiting for Mason to come to him. Mason stops and pops.
McCants traveled on his way to the basket, so the former North Carolina standout turns it over here. His 4th year in the league as you look at Randy Whitman, 9-year player himself in the NBA. Mason looking back down to Duncan. Again, he in love. Tim muscled that up, wouldn't go. Wanted to foul, no call.
I think Tim is rushing a little bit against that rookie. Should be eating him alive. He's licking his chops too much.
McCants with a jumper. McCants is a guy who averages 12 a game. His season high 18 against Dallas. They won their opener against Sacramento, lost to Dallas, and then lost to Oklahoma City. Mason. Good look, wouldn't fall. McCants bringing it quickly the other way. He's kind of an instant offense guy. McCants 44% shooter in the first 3 games this season. Averaged 14.9 a game last year, a career best.
He has a ton of talent. He's just one of those young players having a tough time playing with other players.
And one for Smith as Kurt Thomas draws the foul.
You just look at the Rhino. He's got that Mr. T mohawk going. As big and thick as he is, he just throws his shoulder into you. He's going to get his shot off. And that is a big boy out there. He hasn't missed too many meals or weight room sessions.
All right, I was telling you before, you agree with it? 6'7", 250 is what he's listed as?
Well, 250 as being
kind?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not 250 squared.
Well, he takes care of business with a nifty 3-point play there. Shows you his good footwork. And it's the Wolves' biggest lead of the night of 5 now.
Let me tell you, I don't have a problem with his size either. I mean, he's all muscle.
Duncan, they come to help, knocked away. And frustrating night for Tim. He is 0-5 in the early going.
I'm telling you what, that surprises me, the fact that Kevin Love can get to that shot.
Thomas called for the foul here. Craig Smith will get another pair.
That's an offensive foul.
Oh, I beg your pardon, yeah. It is leading with the elbow and the arm. Foul is on Smith. Let's go back as timeout is called. Look at Tim.
Tim Duncan working the low block, and Love doing a pretty good job. Good step through. Gets a little help from behind, and I'm surprised that Love even gets to that one.
Welcome back, Spurs basketball. Time now for our Cadillac Pursuit of Excellence, and take a look at the top scoring duos in the first week and a half here of the NBA season. And lo and behold, Duncan and Parker leading the way at 52 a game between them, each averaging 26, ahead of Chris Paul and David West, and Chris Bosh and Jose Calderon from the Toronto Raptors. Calderon, now that TJ Ford has moved on, they had 2 really good point guards. I think you're going to see him have even a bigger impact this year.
I don't doubt that.
Meanwhile tonight, speaking of TJ Ford, he had 18 in the first half as Indiana leads Phoenix 66-59, and Stoudemire, the Suns, on 27-point first half for Phoenix. Wow.
That's not bad. A lot of guys go through their entire career and don't score 27 points.
We'll keep an eye on that one for you here tonight. Spurs got some work to do, down 5, and let's see if Tim Duncan can get going here against the rookie Kevin Love. Parker, a quick jumper, and Tony tosses it up and in. Nothing wrong with Tony's game tonight as Parker now with 13 points, 6 of 10 from the floor. Love steps out, hits the 3. That's his first NBA 3. He was 0 of 3 coming in, but that is part of the versatility that he brings.
Yeah. Well, he gets that shot because Sebastian Telfair forces the action. Tim Duncan is forced to suck in there, try to stop the layup, and Love is trailing the break. It's a wide open look.
Smith will go out as Jefferson comes back. Nice work by Craig Smith to give Jefferson a bit of a breather there. And it is Udoka that inbounds it to Parker along with Roberto. Smith, 7 points, made everything. 2 of 2 and 3 of 3 from the line. Duncan against Love again. Tim got the banker. Maybe that'll get him going.
He's got to mix it up with that young fella. Because right now, Love has to be feeling confident. He's like, hey, I'm out here with Tim Duncan. I'm holding my own. Got to put that rookie in his place.
It's McCants. Wow. Impressive, a little left-hand hook.
Oh, that was nice. Especially for a guy who's about 6'4", putting a lefty runner over the top of Timmy.
Parker all the way back to George Hill to Udoka. Little nice fake and a good job off the window that time for Ime Udoka.
Good sign. That was a beautiful ball fake by Ime.
Telfair couldn't finish, wanted a foul called. Duncan out to Parker. Tony spots Roberto. Kicking is the call. Spurs basketball.
Now, we saw this combination last night in the backcourt with Tony Parker and George Hill. It's going to be an interesting combination. Both guys, as quick as they are, as speedy, they can both score the basketball. Also, it helps to keep George Hill comfortable out there that he's out there with the starters.
Hill gets it right back from Duncan. Foye got a piece of that. Telfair back the other way. George Hill, pregame interview tonight, and he's telling me later that I asked him, what player did you really follow or you look forward to going against when you made to the NBA? And he said, Allen Iverson. Well, we're only going to see him twice now. Jefferson did since Iverson's been traded. I haven't got your thoughts on that deal with Iverson and Billups.
Yeah, you know, I wonder what Detroit's doing. I mean, their whole key over the last several years was chemistry. Chauncey Billups is the heart and soul of that team. I don't care about the extra points. That doesn't mean anything to me. It's about keeping guys cohesive and happy in the locker room.
Foye lets fly with a three. Won't go, but there is Jefferson. And they have now hit 8 of 11 in this quarter. And the Spurs find themselves trailing by 8, 36-28.
Well, Al Jefferson scored last time down the court with a beautiful jump hook over the top of Timmy. This time, Timmy hits the floor on the offensive end, and Jefferson runs down. No one boxes him out. He gets an easy 2 points.
Timberwolves with our largest lead of 36-28. Bill Land, Sean Elliott with you here on Fox Sports Southwest. Good folks at AT&T have got the Spurs mobile alerts ready for you. All you got to do is stay connected with the Spurs all season long. Use your mobile phone, text Spurs to 50927. You'll get scores, news, and more. Your Spurs mobile alerts delivered to you by AT&T. Tony Parker been delivering early tonight. 13 points, a rebound, and 2 assists for Tony. But Tony's 6 of 10. The rest of the club is 6 of 23 from the floor. Spurs just 36% as a ball club.
Yeah, Timmy can't get one to fall. He's had his opportunities.
Roberto to Bruce Bowen. Foye on him. Duncan comes off the screen. Get in there.
There you go. All you have to do is talk about it. He gets a soft bounce.
It does seem to work, amazing as it is, might seem. He's now 2 of 9. Minnesota had been on a 16-6 run.
I think he willed that ball to go in.
McCants hits a 3 the other direction. McCants, career high 41% from three-point last year. He made 142 threes.
Now, when we talked about the Spurs having to tweak their defense a little bit, that time McCants gets a wide open look.
Duncan with a miss. Kevin Love with a rebound. To Jefferson. 5:07 to go in the half. 39-30. Jefferson can't handle this one, and Oberto comes off for the loose one. Ime dumps it off to Duncan against Jefferson. Jefferson digging away. Telfair double down. Tim off balance, puts it in off the glass.
Yeah, it makes the toughest shot he's taken all night. Go figure. Sometimes it's just like that. You miss the little easy ones, the ones you normally make, and all of a sudden you make one, you're like, I'm surprised that one went in. Maybe your confidence will get going.
Foye, who had really struggled in the shooting game, comes up and under for the bucket. Foye, his first basket tonight, 1 of 3. And Foye, mentioned earlier, had gone 0 of 10 against Oklahoma City and 3 of 14 the game before that.
Tony Parker just twists Sebastian Telfair around on that screen. Beautiful spin move, gets himself to the free throw line. And Duncan, just a second ago, we watch all the help. The Timberwolves, to their credit, they're active with their hands. Look at Jefferson. You see Telfair in there digging to help out. Timmy's able to corral that ball somehow and give you one off the glass.
Parker steps up and hits the free throw, brings the Spurs within 8. 41-33, make it 34 is Tony single-handedly keeping the Spurs in this one. Duncan gets a breather as Thomas comes on for him.
Now, Tony's been absolutely sensational. Where would the Spurs be without him?
Love. And draws the foul.
And I agree with Bruce Bowen there. Even though he gets a little bit of arm, you know, when I was a rookie, I would have never gotten that call. I mean, you have a big guy who brings it down low. He brings it right to little man's territory. Right here, it's a good ball fake, but he brings that ball down. Bruce has his hands on the basketball. You know, back in 1989 when I was a rookie, that's a no call. And I'm going way back.
So you want to go back and have us video some of your plays and send you back to the free throw line?
No, I don't want to see those.
Oh, okay.
Just give me credit. Just give me the points.
Out of hand now.
Because we know you'd have made them.
Oh, of course.
All right.
Come on.
Kevin Love, who last year is the Pac-10 Player of the Year and All-American, averaged 17.5 points, 10.6 rebounds for UCLA. Just 20 years old, the 5th selection in the draft by Memphis, came over with Miller in a big deal that sent Mayo to the Grizzlies.
Yeah, you know if you're the Pac-10 Player of the Year, you're a player.
Gotta be. What were you? There we go. If you don't show his resume, he'll bring it. Tony Parker hits the three as the Spurs clawing away, 43-37.
Tony's starting to scare me right now because he's doing everything.
Parker now with 18, and he's hit 2 threes here in this first half, and got the basketball again, goes up and draws the foul. Took a pretty good shot that time. Wow.
And that's what we've been talking about. I mean, Telfair is extremely quick in the open court, but Tony Parker gives him a little hesitation move, a little in and out, gets past him, and all Telfair can do is take a swipe at him and hits him above his head. I mean, he gets past any point guard in the league, and that looks like it's more of a frustration foul there by Telfair. That's one of those ones where he's just angry that Tony's constantly getting past him.
So Parker, a couple of free throws here, and knocks the first one down. But Tony, last year, made 17 threes, 15 the year before, and 11 before that. His first couple years in the league, 61, 82, 62, 43. But then they started reworking his shot. He developed everything going to the basket, and Pop's saying before the season, that's the next part of his game, is that three-point shot.
Yeah, you look at his shots today, the three-point shots especially, they have perfect rotation. When he came into the league as a rookie, his shot had a lot of side spin.
He's got the last 7 in the game for the Spurs. Gomes steps out, can't hit this one, and Bowen retrieves and gives to Tony Parker. A 20-point half for Parker. Well, remember last year, Manu averaged nearly 31 against the Timberwolves. Parker taking his place, cannot quite get this one to roll in. Manu twice hit 7 threes against the Timberwolves last year. Sebastian Telfair, fancy move. The other way, and that is a 2 for Roger Mason Jr.
He's got to take him any way he can get him. That time, Tony Parker pushes the ball after a made basket, and the Spurs find themselves with a wide open jump shot.
Rogers got 9.
I think it's the best start that Roger Mason's gotten off to.
Jefferson, quick little turnaround. Parker with a rebound. 2:14 to go in the half. Finley to Bowen. Back out to Parker to reset here.
They run that high screen and roll since Tony's on fire right now.
Comes off that pick. Got it again! Tony Parker steps up with another deuce this time, and it's 45-43. And Tony with 22, better than half of the Spurs points.
As long as he's knocking down that jump shot, you continue to run that high screen and roll, because if the big man jumps out on it, he goes all the way to the basket.
Well, as we watch Jefferson score here, we keep an eye on Stoudemire. He's got 41 tonight for Phoenix through 3 quarters. Remember, he had 27 at the half of that game with Indiana. Tony with 1:30 to go here, 22 points. Back to Roberto.
Give it right back to him.
Finley, deep 3 for Michael. Just clips the iron, and it comes off to Jefferson.
At that time, the Spurs ran that pick and roll. They ran on the left side of the court instead of at the top of the key, where Tony's been successful, and the Timberwolves had a much better time handling it.
Foul will be called here as Fabricio tried to wrestle it away, and a timeout is called here in Minneapolis. Tony Parker, what a show he's putting on.
He's doing it from everywhere. Second 3 ball of the night. He's getting in the lane at will. Tony Parker having a sensational game.
T-Wolves by 4. It's been an entertaining second quarter after a slow start in the first. Hey, this week on Pro Football Preview, check out Chargers linebacker Sean Merriman, NFL insider Jake Glazer, and former running back Eddie George for the inside story on the week's biggest games. Your football weekend begins with Pro Football Preview Friday at 5 p.m. Tony Parker tonight, 8 of 13 from the floor, 4 of 4 from the line.
And they're coming from everywhere. Beyond the arc, doesn't matter. Coming off a little screen there. There's the teardrop over the top of a big man. A little hesitation behind the screen. And right now, Telfair is saying, what can I do? If I play him tightly, he's going around me. If I go underneath the screen, he's knocking down jump shots.
In the second quarter, it's 29-25 T-Wolves after an 18-18 first quarter. And the shooting in this period, Minnesota's 12 of 20, and the Spurs are 10 of 20. 1:07 to go here in this first half. Mike Miller with Bowen trying to shadow him with the hot hand early. Brewer off the screen from Jefferson. 2 on the clock. Just in time, but didn't finish. Bowen hustles for the basketball.
It's a little bit of a break there. Al Jefferson doesn't miss many of those.
Jefferson just 3 of 11 tonight for a guy who shot 51% coming in.
Oh, that's good.
Count it.
Hey, Stoudemire had 27 at half. It's not impossible to think that Tony Parker could be right there also.
Maybe Tony heard us talking and said, hey, that big guy in Phoenix ain't going to better me. Telfair. Nice kickoff.
Oh,
Duncan with a block, but a foul on Tim.
I'm not so sure about that one. Timmy does a great job helping out on the penetration and then gets back to defend the shot, and that looks like it's all ball. Al Jefferson's readjusting his jersey. He's having a hard time believing he got that call.
Jefferson, 5th year in the league, came over last year from Boston, where he averaged, his career averages at 13. Last year he broke it open though at 21 points per game and was 4th in the NBA in rebounding at 11. There's his work tonight. Struggled from the floor. Makes it a 3-point game with that first free throw.
Tim has done an excellent job on him in the low block.
Jefferson, 1 of 4 to have a 2010 average last year. Dwight Howard, Carlos Boozer.
I wonder who's going to take this last shot. Let's see.
Tim is down low. They clear for Tony. About 5-second differential. Game clock, shot clock. Spurs down 3. 7 on the shot clock for Parker. And a foul is called.
As good as Corey Brewer is with those long arms, that athletic ability, he's got to give Tony a lot more space. And he's got to be 5 or 6 feet off of him behind the three-point line. If Tony stops to shoot that three-pointer, then use your athletic ability to contest the shot, maybe get a piece of it. But to go out there, step out there 3-4 feet away from Tony and challenge him outside the three-point line is just not smart.
Pop with 10 seconds to go. Subs grow small here as Udoka comes in for Duncan. And as a result, Jefferson exits as Randy Whitman counters. He brings Kevin Ollie into the ball game, the veteran who came over from Philadelphia. And here is Parker now with 7 seconds to go. Against Brewer. Pulls up for the jumper. Surprisingly a miss. And Finley couldn't get to it in time to put it back up. But Tony Parker with a 24-point first half keeps the Spurs in this one in a night when they were down by as many as 8 at one point. And Parker doing it in all ways, including a couple of rebounds and a pair of assists. Halftime, 49-45. T-Wolves lead it here in Minnesota. Rick Renner coming up for you. San Antonio Spurs basketball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Miller. Good call. By Nissan. When you need it most, Nissan delivers. For attractive lease and finance options, visit your Nissan dealer. Back in Minneapolis, Spurs trail the T-Wolves in the biggest stat by 4. Here's a look at our first half stats. Both teams 42, 43%. Sean, the free throw shooting, both teams perfect on the night. Timberwolves not only tonight, but they've hit 38 of 40 in their last 2 games. So
wow,
they're now the last 2.5 games. They are 47 of 49.
That'll win some games for you.
Wow, let's hope it's not tonight. Here's Jefferson going against Duncan. Parker comes to help. He finds Foye, who can't make the short one. Parker the other way, backs off against Miller.
Foye actually had time to come down and lay the ball up, but he was afraid of Tim Duncan in the area.
Michael Finley trying to create some space for Tim. They come over with a double. Couldn't get the shot to fall as Kevin Love was there to help out, and Duncan 3 of 11 from the floor. Parker leading the way with 24, and Tony getting help with Duncan's got 6, but Mason 9 off the bench tonight. Here's Jefferson. No! He walks. So equally frustrating for Jefferson. He had 10 rebounds in the first half, but just 3 of 11 from the floor.
That's a break for the Spurs there because, like we talked about, Al Jefferson has a ton of junk in his game. It's a beautiful stop, ball fake. Tim Duncan flies by, but fortunately for the Spurs, he shuffles his feet.
Yeah, the scary part is that Jefferson, Mr. Consistency, having a rough night, yet the T-Wolves still have the lead. Tim kicks it off to Tony, back to Finley on the drive, and offensive foul.
And that's Al Jefferson sacrificing his body, stepping out there, and awfully close. You're going to get that call at home.
So the foul is called, and the ball goes back to the Timberwolves. Foye to Miller. Into Love against Finley. Tries to take advantage of his size with a jump hook. A very skilled young player, just 20 years old.
Well, Michael Finley's given up about 20 or 30 pounds there, at least in the low block. And Love knows how to get his shot off.
Finley, no hesitation on the jumper. Swishes the 3.
We'd like to see more of that. No hesitation, lets it fly. You see the results.
Might have got him in trouble in that last play where
exactly.
He passed up the shot. Duncan with a nice block this time. Save off of Finley as Love tends to the cameraman.
But I guarantee that's why Michael Finley let that last 3-ball fly, because he passed up the other one. Love trying to get his shot off, and he's going to learn his lesson. You're not just going to be able to sneak it by Tim Duncan.
Love in your face in your living room. Here is Miller against Bowen. Who's staying in front of him. Back to Jefferson. Fade away. Kevin Love going up after it, and he got sandwiched when a foul was called. Here's Michael Finley coming over the back.
He's just got a big body. And it's not like he's real muscular, but he's wide. There's a lot of weight down low. He can move people around. And I look at Kevin Love next to Mike Miller. They're almost the same height. But Love has about 20, 30 more pounds possibly. He's able to move guys around underneath and assume position.
Gives it off to Jefferson. Under Tim's block attempt to make it 53-48.
I think he studied Tony's move early on in this ball game, throw underneath the arm of the defender.
It looked like, isn't it? Tony back to Finley. Again, cranks it. Just rattles out. Jefferson with a rebound, his 11th of the night. Love inside. And a push on Michael Finley. Well, Love made some friends here in the opener in Sacramento when he had a dozen points and 9 rebounds in about 18 minutes of work. Hasn't had that kind of stuff until tonight when he's responded with 9 points and 4 rebounds. And you're going to see some inconsistency in a rookie, but you like what you see of him so far?
Well, the Spurs have gone small coming out here, and that's been a big key because Love is trying to really get it going in the low block against a smaller defender. Now you're going to see Fab come back in the game, and we'll see how he fares against a bigger, longer defender. But his versatility has been impressive, and the fact that he's gotten to a couple blocks on Tim Duncan, he's rebounded the ball well, knocked down a 3-pointer. You can see that he obviously has a ton of talent.
Yeah, that versatility allows you to keep him on the floor when other teams do sub. We'll see how he handles it here. Here's Parker back to Duncan. Tim. Lost control, out of bounds. Seeing if someone else touched it, it'll be... The official was looking for some help. I don't know if he ever got it or not.
He was looking for the foul call. That's what he's upset about. Nice jab step there. And there's the foul right there by Brewer.
Tomahawk the arm.
Can we get the ball back? Skin graft, please.
And here is another call, and it's a foul on Tim on the screen. His second foul.
I'm sure Tim is boiling at this point. He doesn't get the foul call, and you can see Pop's expression there. He goes to the hole, doesn't get the foul call, then turns around and picks up an offensive foul.
Miller. Duncan trying to corral the rebound. Miller wrestles it away. Jefferson over Fabricio.
Wow, that's a heck of a move there by Al Jefferson. Catches the ball around the free throw line, gives you about 2 or 3 fakes. They're subtle, but it's enough to free himself up inside.
6-0 run matches their largest lead of 9.
He catches this ball here. He gives you a ball fake, a little in and out, and hits the bottom.
Yeah, there are a few Spurs fans in the house here in Minnesota. Bill Land and Sean Elliott with his Spurs on the short side, 57-48. I remind you to play Mega Millions from the Texas Lottery and get a chance to win big. Right now, the estimated annuitized jackpot is $42 million. So play Mega Millions today. Who knows? Maybe it's your lucky day. Tim Duncan, the Spurs could use a little luck or a break or two to get things going for him. Duncan suffered through a 3 of 12 shooting night, got 6 rebounds tonight. Tony Parker had 24 points in the first half, yet to score in the second half. And it's been 3 double-figure scores for the Timberwolves, 12 apiece for Jefferson and Miller, and 11 for the rookie Love.
When they're shorthanded to begin with, no Manu Ginobili, obviously a huge part of your ball club, there's really no margin for error.
Tim and Tony have to score.
They have to play their best game in order for the Spurs to have a chance to win. And Tim's 3 for 12. Everybody's impacted.
Bowen tries to help out as he packs in a 3. And Bruce makes it 57-51. The Spurs bench has been outscored 31-15 so far tonight.
It's good to see somebody else knock down a shot.
Brewer matches a 2. Corner as Brewer averaging 6 points, nearly 6 rebounds a game. Duncan gives to Roger Mason Jr. Looks to Fab instead to Parker. 7:50 to go, third quarter. Spurs trail by 8. Duncan back to Tony. The teardrop.
You better read the scouting report there. Brewer and Kevin Love, both young players. You're not going to get to that teardrop.
26 for Parker. Inside is Jefferson, and he misses. Rebounded Duncan. Here comes Tony again. I mentioned earlier that Mari Stoudemire had 27.5 tonight. Well, he ended up with 51 as the Suns beat Indiana this evening. Foul called here, a loose ball call. Let's go back a moment ago. Duncan to Tony.
A little give and go action. And look at Tim. It's a subtle little pivot, and it knocks off Brewer. Gives Tony just enough room to get that shot off.
Foul was called on Foye. Wolves first of the third quarter. Spurs with 2 with 7:09 to go. Duncan. Deflected. Bowen was shoved, and the foul is called. When Bruce was unable to keep his balance, they get Miller on the foul. It's one of those, had he been all right, they may not have called. We'll see.
Well, Timmy going baseline there. Just both players going for the basketball. Could have been a no call.
Yeah, Miller may have put a point there. Mason gets it right back. Miller with a rebound. Foye Parker and Mason nearly fight over it as Tim again comes up off the floor. Foye 2 of 5 tonight for 4 points. Parker weaving his way to the bucket. Spots Bowen. 7 on the shot clock. Pick and roll with Duncan. Back to Tim from the arc. Got it.
I like that shot there because he doesn't have any time to think about it. He just got to catch and shoot. And we've said that early on here in the season. Whenever Timmy catches it and lets it go right away, he's one of the best shooters the Spurs have inside the three-point line.
Spurs were down 9, now within 4. Brewer goes for the steal, and then a foul is called as Jefferson wheeled and went to the bucket.
That's a good foul though there by Roger Mason. Fab goes, he gambles a little bit, going for that steal, almost comes up with it. Jefferson has a clear path to the basket. And Roger Mason takes him out.
First foul for Roger. He's got 9 points tonight, a couple of rebounds. As Randy Foye out of Villanova in his 3rd year kicks it back to Love. Love for 3. Fab holding off the rebounder as Tony comes flying through to pick it up. Udoka comes back for the Spurs on the next whistle. Mason got it. Tell you what, when he gets in a bit of a rhythm, it doesn't take much either, does it, for him to pull the trigger.
I haven't seen him miss 2 in a row yet. He missed the last time he had the ball. This time he takes his time, sets his man up, comes off a screen, and knocks down that jump shot. Moving extremely well without the basketball. That's way too much daylight to give him.
Double figures in the first 4 games, 11 tonight. Spurs within 2.
Welcome back. The Spurs have made it a ball game here, and Roger Mason starting to score. And let me show you right here. Here he is with Randy Foye guarding him. And what I want you to watch is as soon as this ball comes up here, Bruce Bowen and Tim Duncan are going to turn around, set a double screen, and Foye is not ready for it. He's standing straight up. His knees aren't bent. He runs right into a brick wall. Not good defense, better offense. You cannot give Roger Mason that much room. And that is a young player right there, Randy Foye, not getting down, set, ready to play deep.
Part of the 9-2 run for the Spurs as Love tries to counter and cannot connect. There's Brewer with a rebound. Telfair back to Love. Brother Miller.
Hey, come on back.
Rebounding is 28-25 Minnesota. Miller for 3. Mike Miller hits the 3, his 3rd of the night on 5 pops at it. He was 1 of 8 in the first 3 games.
Not a lot Tony Parker could do. He makes the rotation. He comes out there, he chops the steps. But Mike Miller gets rid of the basketball immediately.
7 on the shot clock. Parker had to adjust to Tim. Duncan drops it home as Tim Duncan pulls it back within 3 now, 62-59. And Duncan in double figures with 10 points to go along with his 7 rebounds.
You just know those shots are good. If Timmy catches it right away and lets it go, it's like practice.
Love, great pass. And the foul as Jefferson goes to the basket. He'll be shooting. Here to remind you, you can test drive any new Kia vehicle to participate in Greater San Antonio Kia retailer, and you get a voucher for 2 tickets to an upcoming Spurs home game while supplies last. For more information, log on to Spurs.com, and the keyword is Kia. Spurs will be home Friday. Miami in town. Tuesday, the New York Knicks with Mike D'Antoni coaching them. And then back out for a little 1-game roadie to Milwaukee. All the Spurs telecast in high definition this season. Glad to bring that to you in the highest quality. Jefferson back for another. 14 fouls on the Spurs here with 4:33 to go in the quarter. Just 2 on the Wolves. Jefferson, after a rare Minnesota miss at the line, hits this one. Jefferson with 13 and 11. Another double-double for him. Ime. Got it! And 1! Off the window! Ime Udoka. What a shot! Hear that whistle? Put it up, right?
That's exactly right. And it's a difficult shot because he's moving left. He has to shoot that ball across his body. Great penetration there, and that's what we talk about with Roger Mason. He's able to create shots for other players, keeping that defense off balance. And Ime Udoka just too strong there, able to finish the play.
Ime gets his 6th point of the night and a chance for a 3-point play here. And the rebound off to Love. Love's 5th rebound to go with 11 points. Udoka trying to stay with Mike Miller. Back out to Love. Thomas for that fake. Love not enough to put it over the iron. Out of bounds. It'll be Minnesota basketball.
Don't get too far ahead of yourself there, young fella. He's more of a power forward. He's trying to throw some guard moves out there. A little double pump, trying to throw that ball off the glass.
Brewer to Miller. And now Telfair. Just inside 4 minutes, 3rd quarter. Spurs looking for their first win of the season. Have trailed by 9. They're down 2. Miller. Telfair. Telfair, his first game of the season, hits the jumper as Telfair last year 9 points a game, played 60 games, had the ankle injury that knocked him out. Shot a career best 40%. Also led him an assist at 5.9 per game. As Parker counters the other way, and Tony. It's his 2nd bucket of the 2nd half. He now has 28.
His in-between game is so much better. It's gotten better from last year to this year.
So much more confident with it. Jefferson comes right back. Puts the lead at 4. Al Jefferson with 15. Three minutes to go in the quarter. The Spurs. Roger Mason Jr. And he knocks down the Spurs' 6th consecutive make. They're 6 of 6 now. And it's still a 2-point game.
My goodness, he's got a quick trigger.
Love.
Oh. I didn't see the contact, but I like the block.
They'll take a look at it here.
Well, I'm sure there was. I mean, he hit the floor like he got hit by a truck. Kurt Thomas is not going to give away any easy buckets. And there you see Timmy coming in there using that off arm. Tell the rookie, go get lost for a second.
Love did a nice job of hooking Thomas to get by him.
Yeah, he did.
And Tim came over to ensure he didn't get anything uncontested. He'll have to earn him at the free throw line, where he is a good free throw shooter. Love coming in averaging 8 points, 5 rebounds through the first 3 games, and he's now got 12 and 5 caroms. First miss of the season for him at the free throw line after hitting his first 12 free throws. Parker brings it back for the Spurs, down 3. Roger Mason Jr. for 3. Got it! And the Spurs tie it up at 68. Roger Mason, again, a huge factor for the Spurs. He has 16 coming off the bench.
I'm just asking you right now, Bill, can you imagine him on the floor with Manu Ginobili? Those guys are going to create so much havoc.
Here is Love. And Manu's probably at home just drooling, thinking of the Timberwolves alone after his 2 games of 7 threes against them last year. Cants with a miss as the Spurs good defense on that possession. The Spurs hit 9 of their last 10 shots, 7 in a row, with 1:50 to go in the 3rd. Parker tugging away as Telfair did jump ball.
That's a good call.
Yeah, good hands by Sebastian Telfair. You normally think of the bigs going at it, right? How about these two?
I think we could throw Mike Ciccarello out there. This
Director
is for you.
Mike Ciccarello? Well, let's see. We've got Tony's listed as 6'3", Telfair at 6 foot.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe I'm being a little too generous.
Wait a minute. He's calling the shots in there tonight. You better be nice to him. Now we're told the truck is saying he is 5'6", so Quit ripping him.
He's a college 5'6". When he gets to the league, he's going to be 5'4".
Oh, that's in his own press guide that he's been handing out, apparently. Out of bounds as Miller goes into row 1. That's why you buy those front row seats, so you get sweaty. Look at this.
That's part of the deal there. You get front row seats, you have to go home and take a shower.
Spurs a 17-7 run the last 6 minutes. It's tied up. Smith. Floater in the lane wouldn't go. Kurt Thomas retrieves. Parker. They back off. Tony says, what are you, nuts? Wow. Can't you read the stat sheet? He's got 30.
Well, we've been saying it his entire career. When he develops that in-between game and that jump shot, he's going to be unstoppable.
So concerned with his penetration, which he is, if not the best, certainly among the league.
Oh, yeah, there's no question about
penetration.
it. No question about it. He and, you have to say, Chris Paul are in a different category. They can go wherever they want to on the floor.
Smith inside, and he'll go to the line. Nice fast pass, I should say, from Gomes.
It's a good foul there. Make that big fella earn them.
Spurs were their first lead since the 18-16 near the end of the first quarter. They were tied at the end of the quarter, 18 apiece. Spurs down 4 at the half. Now with inside a minute to go here in the third, Smith is at the line. The T-Wolves last year had a problem in their 22-60 season where in 16 of those losses they led or tied after the third quarter.
Yep.
And that is a learning process for a young team.
That's what it is.
How do you win? How do you put people away? And the Spurs are hoping they don't learn that tonight. The Spurs need a W.
It's easy to play the first 3 quarters when there's nothing on the line. And you get down to crunch time, all of a sudden your shots are short. Guys start alligator arming them. Start to feel the pressure. You start missing your free throws. You start making mental mistakes.
Smith gets 1 of 2 here. 1 point Spurs lead. Shot clock at 15. Game clock at 38 now. Parker and Telfair.
Time to go 2 for 1 here.
Comes off the Fab screen and hits the jumper. Tony Parker tearing him up tonight. 8 in the quarter, 32 on the night.
Good grief. Can it get any better?
And if they can get a rebound or follow up here, she'll get another opportunity. Gomes. And with the shot clock turned off, the Spurs get it back. Ryan Gomes hits that bucket. His first of the night.
Well, if I'm Tony Parker right now, no one else is touching this ball until it goes through the bottom.
Spread it out. 8 seconds to go. Telfair with a foul to give. Grabs Tony here with 7 seconds. Now Parker and Mason would be, if they do come over to help with Tony, it'd be obvious. And you got 3-point shooters Finley and Udoka also on the floor, along with Fabricio. Here is Mason with 6 seconds to go.
Oh, boy.
He'll drive all the way to the hole, and it's in! So concerned with Parker, they forgot about the paint. 2 seconds to go, McCants. And that ends an impressive third quarter for the Spurs as they come roaring back from a 4-point halftime deficit to lead it by 3.
That was shifty. Look at that little inside-out move on McCants. And it's subtle. He doesn't have to oversell that fake. Watch that. Oh, boy. I mean, McCants jumped out 5 feet to the left. The lane parted is wide open. What a move by Roger Mason.
23-10 run to end the third quarter for the Spurs. Parker with 32. And it's a 74-71 Spurs lead over Minnesota. Fourth quarter coming up. San Antonio Spurs basketball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Whataburger, just like you like it. And by Toyota, moving forward. Spurs with an impressive third quarter of 29-22. now have the lead 74-71 as we go here to the fourth quarter. Bill and Sean Elliott with you. You see Parker having fun on the bench for the moment with 32. No kidding, he's smiling. And Roger Mason Jr. with an impressive effort as well. He's got 18. And a foul is called here. And it'll be on Foye, picking up his second foul. Michael Finley inbounds. George Hill, Udoka, Berto, and Roger Mason on the floor. George, the rookie from IUPUI in Indianapolis. Averaged 36 a game in his high school senior season in Indy. And a 3-second call is called here, defensive 3 seconds.
And you can see right off the bat how much confidence Pop has in Roger Mason Jr. Right off the bat, the plays for him coming out of the timeout. And it's apparent that with Tony Parker sitting on the bench, they're going to try to run their offense through Roger Mason. Again, he's a guy who can create shots for other players out there. He's got to have his hands on the ball. He's got to be involved in almost every play here until you get your other big scorers out in the court.
Roger hitting the free throw. 4-4 from the line tonight. On the drive, Mason with the left hand, won't go. Rebound comes off. Smith will give it off to Foye.
That's what I'm talking about, though. He's got to force the action.
The other way, they get the fast break bucket as Gomes scores. 75-73. Wolves back within 2. Udoka. And the jumper good. Spurs by 4, 77-73.
That's a good shot there by Ime. We've seen him over last year where he was able to get it going. He could put up some points in a hurry.
McCants with a miss. Hill with a rebound. Spurs are at 52% shooting now for the night after that cold start. They've been over 50 in 2 of the first 3 games and are 49% on the year after the 42% mark against Dallas last night.
I'll tell you what, George Hill turns that corner on that screen and he eats up some space. Takes one dribble, he's all the way to the rim.
Telfair picks up his 4th foul on this play.
He turns his corner here. There are 2 dribbles. He's at the basket. There's nothing that Telfair can do. He's not quick enough to get in front, get in position.
George with a miss on the free throw. Quite a debut last night against Dallas, even though the Spurs came out on the short side. Big part of the Spurs comeback that fell short. But he came in and acted like anything but his debut in the NBA. Ended up with 11 points in 15-plus minutes. 22 years old, the Summit League Player of the Year last year at Indiana University, Purdue University of Indianapolis. Misses them both, and Telfair steps in. Here's Foye. Feeds Brewer for 3. Hill. Michael Finley with the travel. Seven turnovers for the Spurs tonight. 5 for the Timberwolves. Pretty clean game so far.
Yeah, Michael Finley just got a little happy there. He sees a big man on him. Wants to immediately take him to the basket.
Gomes pulls up over Finley. Tip no good. Out of bounds. Spurs basketball.
Spurs catch a break that time. As soon as Gomes catches the basketball, there's miscommunication there between Ime and George Hill. Both of them left him.
A little full court pressure here by the Timberwolves as Finley trying to go to Hill, and a foul
And that's a two-shot foul.
That's a two-shot foul there because the ball's not inbounded yet. And they're trying to apply the full court pressure, obviously because George Hill's a rookie, and you have Tony Parker sitting on the bench. They want to try to get to the young player, get him frustrated, get him flustered, try to create some turnovers.
Telfair picks up his 5th foul here in his first game of the season. Mike Miller's going to come back for Minnesota. See if Hill can come back, break into the scoring count. (78-73). Spurs' biggest lead tonight of 5. Timberwolves' biggest lead was 9 in the third quarter. Telfair, 8 points, 5 fouls, takes a seat. George Hill pads that lead to 6. Foul called, and Brewer going to go to the line.
Tell you what, George Hill got caught out of position that time, and he was able to recover and cover a lot of ground, getting back or trying to get back in front of Corey Brewer.
They want to remind you to come out on Saturday, November 15th and visit Meritage Homes' brand new model home at the Rolling Meadows community. Meet the Coyotes. Silver Dancers will be there between noon and 1 on the 15th. Also enter to win Spurs tickets and for your child to be on court and win great new toys. Rolling Meadows located on Nacogdoches Road outside Loop 1604. More info, log on to Spurs.com or meritagehomes.com for all the details. Both of them good, 79-75 as Brewer makes it a 4-point contest. Duncan against Jefferson. And Tim stripped of it by Brewer and the foul on the reach by Corey Brewer.
Tim giving Al Jefferson a taste of his own medicine. Throwing some junk in his game, a couple of ball fakes, gets himself to the free throw line.
So Duncan to the line. Timberwolves at 16 of 19. Spurs are 10 of 13, 77% so far tonight. Tim gets this one to roll in. Duncan coming in, averaging 26 a game through the first 3. He and Tony tied for 3rd in the league with that mark. Tim shooting 60% for the first 3 from the free throw stripe.
But over the years, we've seen Tim Duncan struggle through several games, at least through the first 3 quarters. He comes out, he has a big 4th.
And tonight, Duncan with 11 points, 7 rebounds, 5 of 14 shooting. Miller. Look at George Hill behind the backboard. My goodness.
That answers all the critics talking about the Spurs need to get more athletic. Just saw this hand come out of nowhere.
Back to Tim. 10 on the clock. Duncan swishes the jumper.
Have I said it enough, Bill? When he catches it and he lets it go, it's good. Just like a drill in practice. But when you hesitate and you're waiting for the defense to adjust, that's when you're thrown out of your rhythm.
Jefferson backing in on Duncan. Body sprawling, and a foul will be called. George Hill.
He's in there battling right now.
Said Ryan Gomes, if you want this rebound, good luck.
You better earn it.
Knocked him into row 1. Minnesota 1 of 7 in the 4th. Here's a look.
You watch this out of nowhere. That's your backup point guard coming down with that athletic rebound. Then Tim Duncan, a little step back. I'll take that one. Thank you very much.
13 for Duncan. Spurs by 7. 82-75 here in the 4th.
2-7.
Crunch enjoying himself here with an 82-75. Spurs by 7. It's time for the Nissan Get You in the Game. Tonight's game summary brought to you by Nissan. Get in the game, get in a Titan. It has been a back and forth affair. The Spurs finally got it going shooting-wise, Sean. Thanks to Tony and Roger.
Roger Mason's been terrific here in this second half, but Tony Parker's been the story of this ball game. Just doing it from everywhere on the floor, over the top, of the shot blockers with a beautiful teardrop in that in-between game just gets better and better.
Back to the live action. Timberwolves Brewer got it. Corey Brewer hits the bucket to make it 82-77. Brewer with 6 points on the night. They have 3 in double figures. Jefferson, Miller, 15 each. Kevin Love a dozen. Duncan looking at Tony. Beautiful pass.
That's goaltending.
Yep. And Parker moving closer toward a new career high as Tony Parker with 34.
I believe the defender put his hands through the net, through the rim. Easy call.
Parker's career high 38 against Miami in December of 06. Miller to Jefferson, and he'll get an and one.
Well, Mike Miller's doing an outstanding job moving without the basketball. He's getting several screens there. They're trying to pick off Bruce Bowen. Tim Duncan's forced to help. There you see the screen by Jefferson, and Mike Miller goes right back to Al Jefferson and one.
Al is on Bowen. Some amazing numbers tonight, Sean. The Spurs shooting 53%, T-Wolves just 40. T-Wolves still in it, though. Second chance points, 14-0 Minnesota. Wow. And this was a team, Minnesota, that allowed 25 second chance points and 19 offensive rebounds in their loss at Oklahoma City. They've cleaned up that area. Well, Tony draws the foul and will go to the free throw line. Nearly had a spectacular three-point play.
Well, not everybody in white's ready to play defense. They're forcing Tony Parker toward the baseline, and not everyone got the memo. He goes baseline. Brewer's forcing him that way, and not everybody's ready to help. And there you see Mike Miller clearly in the restricted area.
And Miller picks up the foul. 85-79 is Tony Parker with 35. Look at that line. 36, and it's 86-79. Parker 14 of 21 from the floor, 6 of 6 from the line.
He's got to stay greedy. He's got to go after every bucket he can get.
Gomes trying to back him down. Kicks it out to Brewer. Brewer for the three ball. Duncan high for the board this time, and the Spurs bring it back with 7:52 to go.
That surprised me right there. Ryan Gomes has Tony Parker on him. Gives it up.
Okay, what was he looking to kick that ball out for?
Yeah, you don't give that to a three-point shooter on the perimeter. You go ahead and try to score that ball.
To Brewer, who was a 19% three-point shooter last year.
That's youth right there.
It's decision-making. So Foye brings it across here. Inside Brewer, that is where he can hurt you. It's 86-81.
He just makes a great cut from the weak side. Does a terrific job moving without the basketball.
Parker against the 6'9", 188-pound Brewer. You see giving Tony his space. Now to Duncan. 9 on the shot clock for Tim. And the bank again is open as Duncan using the window. And Tim with 15 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists on a night that started so slow for him.
It doesn't matter. It's the fourth quarter that counts. He's here to play.
Inside, Jefferson looking for the handle. Last touch by Duncan. It goes back to the Timberwolves. 7 on the shot clock for Minnesota to work with. Timeout called by Randy Whitman, the head coach of the T-Wolves. They're trying to even up in the season. The Spurs trying to finish them off and get their first win of the year. Welcome back. Spurs 88-81 lead over the Timberwolves. Still 6:51 remaining here in Minnesota. Let's take a look at the Aaron's Rental upcoming telecast schedule for the Spurs. Next FS Southwest telecast will be the Knicks and the Spurs Tuesday in high definition. And I want to remind you again, Spurs Insider, a weekly show this year, giving you the latest on the Spurs. You can catch it tonight at 10 right here on FS Southwest. And hope you've enjoyed.
Who's the host of that show?
Forget the host. We saw Roger Mason Jr. and our man Daniel Ashcraft, the associate producer tonight, put together a nice series of Roger Mason at Camp Diary, if you will. And that's available at Spurs.com as well as on the Spurs Insider. Gives you all the inside look on the San Antonio Spurs. And Miller hits the three as it's 88-84.
That's the best time to shoot a three ball after an offensive rebound. The defense is sucked in. Everybody's going after the defensive board, and Mike Miller's left wide open on the perimeter.
Miller's fourth three of the night. He has 18. Spurs turn it over. Here comes Miller with it. Foye, 6:13 to go. Looking to Gomes, who's got Mason posted up. Help defense didn't get there in time, and one for Brewer.
Pop wasn't happy with the rotation there. Gomes in the low block against Roger Mason. You see Michael Finley coming from below. And Brewer does exactly what you're supposed to do. Follows his man to the basket.
And just like that, a three from Miller and a three-point play from Brewer. And it's now 88-87, 6 points in 40 seconds. Has tightened this one up again.
Spurs were an inch away from putting this game away.
Minnesota subbing on the next whistle. There's Parker. Got the basket, and Tony Parker has just matched his career high. 38 for TP, and the Spurs back up by 3.
Al Jefferson didn't stand a chance. He had spaced that play perfectly. Tony Parker still overwhelms him at the rim.
Miller for 3 again. Tied at 90. Miller, 5 of 7 from the arc.
I tell you what, Gomes has hurt him twice in that double team, and he has yet to score down there in the low block.
Parker answers with points 39 and 40, and the Spurs back up by a deuce, 92-90, after the T-Wolves had wiped out that 7-point lead. Here's Gomes, and he is fouled.
And there you have it. I'm sitting there telling him he hasn't scored. He turns around, goes all the way to the basket for a three-point play. He's mixing it up here. He's found 2 of his teammates. Brewer one time, Mike Miller for another 3. Turns the corner immediately and gets himself to the foul line for an and one. And that looked like a charge. Awfully close. Roger Mason was on his way to double team anyways.
So Gomes, 4th year out of Providence, coming off a career year last year. Better than 12 points and nearly 6 boards a game. Gets the 3-point play, 93-92. T-Wolves by 1. As they're on a 12-4 run over the last 144. 10 on the shot clock. Parker tried to get it back to Tim and was stripped of it. Telfair, it was behind him from Gomes. Spurs try to make him pay. Duncan lays it up and in from Parker.
That's what happens when you have a young power forward trying to handle the ball in the open court and trying to make a play. Turns it over. Spurs go the other way for an easy 2.
94-93 Spurs. Here's Gomes again. Telfair kicks it to Brewer. His drive, and a loose one, and Finley comes up with it. They got a little anxious.
Yes, they did.
Parker, watch out, Tony. Brewer right there again. And back out, Mason.
Why not take that one?
Oh, mama! There's the 3 from Roger Mason Jr. What timing!
And that's another thing I like about him. He's not afraid to take the big shot. Doesn't matter. There's a little bit of chaos going on out there on the court. He sees an open opportunity and takes advantage. And a moment ago, the turnover in the open court, Tim Duncan gets an easy bucket. And going the other way, Tony Parker almost loses it, and Roger Mason is left wide open. Not going to miss too many of those.
He's got 22. San Antonio Spurs basketball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. By your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Progressive, making insurance better. Call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE today. What a game we've got here in Minneapolis. Spurs trying desperately to get that first win of the season. They came from a 9-point deficit, got up 7, and the T-Wolves bounced right back, and now the Spurs by 4. Here's Miller again. This one a 2. And Miller is absolutely on fire, as Mike Miller now with 23 on the night.
Bruce Bowen tried to follow him around that screen, got knocked off balance, and wasn't able to recover.
Mason to Fab. Goes up, got it blocked by Love. Telfair dishes, Foye scores. Tied at 97 now, with 3:28 to go, and the Timberwolves coming right back again.
Fab might have been bumped. Looked like he almost got his head taken off.
And he doesn't get those calls. Mason, hold it.
Are you kidding?
Oh, a foul on Duncan on the screen. Wow, Mason had drained another jumper.
You can already see Pop doesn't like that. I don't like that call either. Timmy's basically holding his position. I mean, Foye's trying to go underneath or through Tim Duncan on that play.
Yeah, he didn't. Anyway. Here's Love for a 2. No, Duncan with a rebound. All, inside 3 minutes to go. Mason pick and roll with Duncan. Back to Tim. Going strong. Got it to the line. Timmy. 99-97.
Did I mention already that Roger Mason could create shots for other players? Here he is working off a little screen and roll. Sucks in that defense, drops it off to Timmy, and Jefferson's just in time to pick up that foul.
And Tim started 3 of 11, remember?
Yep.
He's hit 6 of his last 7 from the floor. And as a result, he goes to the line with 19 points and 10 rebounds. Spurs by 2, 99-97. And what a ball game here with the Timberwolves. 3-point play. That's been the name here in the 4th quarter. Miller's threes, I should say. Mason hit 1, 3-point plays. Here's Miller again. Love, and out of bounds. It'll go back to Minnesota. Good effort by Kevin Love.
That's a huge break for the Timberwolves there. I mean, Bruce Bowen is working his tail off. He's getting, sometimes he has to fight through 3 screens with Mike Miller. On that missed opportunity, you've got to take advantage and come down with the defensive board.
Bastion Telfair with it on the inbounds. Foul here. Loose ball call against Jefferson, I believe, as Tim knocked away. And Jefferson picks up his.
We're in the penalty, I believe.
It's his 3rd foul, yeah, and penalty time, so they'll go to the other end. Kevin McHale oversees this ball club. Doesn't like what he sees at the moment. Former University of Minnesota great before that long distinguished Hall of Fame career with the Boston Celtics. And coming back home here. T-Wolves trying to get it back together with this young club. As Duncan hits the first one. Spurs came in averaging 92.7 a game, giving up 100 points a contest through the first 3. And they break the century mark tonight with 101-97. Duncan, one more opportunity. Spurs as a team tonight, 80% from the line, 16 of 20. Timberwolves are 18 of 22, 82%. Here's Jefferson, steps through against Fabricio. Rebound, Roger Mason Jr. lost it. Love knocks it away. Second chance opportunities are killing him. Here is Foye. About the time you think they got a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. You leave Fab one-on-one against Al Jefferson. He gets it exactly where he wants to. Misses the shot, and you can't come down with the defensive board once again.
There's the Spurs' big 3 tonight. But second chance points, 21 zip Minnesota.
They're going to call travel on that
Spurs turn it over. And that is the 12th turnover of the night for San Antonio. 7 is all that Minnesota's coughed it up.
Well, in that situation there, Fab can't find himself with the basketball with the shot clock running down. Tony Parker, Roger Mason Jr. have to have the ball in their hands.
Telfair. Look at Bowen. Got a tap on it. Here's Miller. Fab comes to help.
Wow.
Oh,
that's got to be something there. Pass the ball to himself.
The miss. Love rips off the rebound, out of bounds. Minnesota basketball. Kevin Love isn't getting the ball, but he's creating some havoc on the second chance situation.
Absolutely. He's throwing his body around there. And look at Mike Miller here. What is this? He tries to pick the ball up and loses. That's a double dribble. That's right in front of the official.
No replay for that. Here's Jefferson again. 1:20 to go. Jefferson backing in on Duncan.
He's going to score in that situation. He gets Timmy too deep in the low block. All he has to do is pivot, throw his shoulder out there. He's got an easy layup.
That's that second chance point story. 23-zip. Parker with a miss. Rebound out of bounds. Spurs basketball with 1:04 to go. Tony Parker with a career-high 40 tonight. Duncan steps out, can't hit. Great look, wouldn't fall. Rebound off to the T-Wolves. Chance to regain the lead inside a minute. Miller gives to Jefferson against Oberto.
Got to come with some help here or something. It's too good.
103-102. Minnesota the last 6 and 50 seconds. They lead by 1. Parker. Got it again. Spurs back on top. 104-103. 42 for number 9.
And just shooting the ball with so much confidence. He's just itching for a piece of daylight to get that ball off because he knows it's good.
Parker glances up. Spurs by 1. 33.5 seconds to go.
He's working his magic right now. He sets up Telfair there, steps behind the screen. The way he's been shooting the ball this season, it's money.
So Tony started off the season with 32 against Phoenix, 24 against Portland, 22 against Dallas, and 42 tonight here in Minnesota.
When he starts knocking that shot down and guys start going underneath the screen, it's going to make all the coaches in this league scratch their head. How in the world are you going to play him? If you go over the top of the screen, he's going to go all the way to the basket, or he's going to embarrass your big man. You go underneath the screen, he continues to knock down jump shots like that, he's going to murder you from the outside.
You see the timeout situation. Spurs have 3 remaining. Minnesota with 1 20-second timeout. Let's talk defense here, Spurs, and also what they're going to come up with as far as offensively. First of all, look at Roger Mason, who's at 22.
Roger Mason's been fantastic here. This entire ball game got off to a good start with 9 points in the first half and just continued that in the second, knocking down 3 balls. He's left wide open. Had one taken away when they called an offensive foul on Tim Duncan earlier in the fourth quarter. But he's been the guy who picked up the scoring load, and that's exactly what this team expected of him when they signed him. They didn't know he was going to be this good, though.
22 for him, 22 for Duncan, 42 for Parker. So add them up, and 86 points for the big 3 tonight. Right, Minnesota going to go here back to Jefferson.
Right now, if you're Minnesota, in this situation, you almost have to be thinking 2 for 1. You got to go quickly because there's only
9 seconds.
a 9-second differential there between the shot clock and the game clock. So you got to get something quickly. You got to get a good shot. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Al Jefferson get something.
Well, guess Love. Miller looking for him. Here's back to Jefferson. Telfair. Love. Powered it in. Duncan even had a piece of it. 4, and the rookie, Kevin Love, with 14 points. His best effort. He had 12 in the season opener against Sacramento. That was big time there.
That was a big finish there by the rookie. Tim Duncan was all over that block. First off, you see Roger Mason come down there, good help, forced to make a rotation, and Telfair makes a terrific pass. And Love is able to finish at the rim. Rookie looks good so far. He's shown a lot of heart in this ball game, mixing it up with Tim Duncan and coming through with a huge bucket to give the Timberwolves the lead.
Telfair's 9th assist. He's showing some maturity as well, I think.
Absolutely, because that was a big question mark with him when he was traded away from, I believe, New Jersey, where a lot of players were saying, hey, is this guy ever going to develop, or Portland rather?
Yeah, with
tonight he's taking care of the basketball. He's done a terrific job, and he's pretty much stayed under control. Hasn't taken bad shots, and that's exactly what you expect out of that point guard position. Now going back now, I have to believe that the Spurs are going to try to score quickly and then rely on their defense. It's not a situation where you can run the shot clock down and try to get a shot, because if you miss, then you turn it into a foul shooting contest. So you got to go pretty much right away, try to get the first good available shot.
Love tonight, 14 points, 3 blocks, 6 rebounds. The Spurs come back with Parker, Mason, Duncan, Bowen, and Finley. And down a point, 17.7 to go. Finley to inbounds. Randy Whitman's going to sub here. Looks like he'll bring Gomes back. Try to match up with the Spurs. Gomes to guard the inbound. Use those long arms. 6'7", 245 as Finley to put him in play. Brewer on Parker. Here's Tony with the basketball. 17 seconds to go. Parker nearly lost the handle. 13 seconds. Tony on the drive. The floater, no. Spurs got a foul and do. 9 seconds to go.
Well, they cleared that side out for Tony Parker to go one-on-one against Brewer. I believe he had him the first time, just lost control of the basketball. Comes back, able to regain control. Brewer goes for the gamble, and I think he got a piece of it. And Brewer, with those long arms, is able to move his feet and recover and get a piece of that ball.
So to the other end for Al Jefferson. Jefferson, 3 of 5 tonight from the line. Came in 9 of 12 and has shot 68.5% in his career from the free throw line. Now, you must secure, if he misses, you must secure the rebound. If he makes, you got the opportunity, still got a timeout. You guys to advance the ball. You also have a choice then of 2 or 3 to win. So that was a big miss.
Well, I'm sure the Spurs are going to take a timeout here.
Spurs have 2 20s remaining. They'll take one here. And it's a 2-point game. 106-104 is Al Jefferson with 22 points. Miller with 23. And the Spurs down a pair and 9 seconds remaining. I remember last year, Manu had a game winner here as part of his onslaught against this club when the Spurs swept the T-Wolves. So that was a 100-99 game back in February.
Borrowing a line from Rick Pitino, Manu Ginobili's not walking through that door.
No.
Somebody else on this ball club's got to do it right now. I suspect Tony Parker or Roger Mason are going to be the ones taking this last shot. And you're going to try to get the first available good shot. Doesn't necessarily have to be a 3-ball. Take a 2 if you got the opportunity. Rely on your defense. Take it to overtime if you have to.
Don't forget, immediately following more Spurs coverage with Spurs Live straight ahead. Spurs come back. Parker, Mason, Finley, Oberto, and Duncan. Seconds to go. Finley to inbounds. Roger Mason Jr. 7 seconds. Foye on him to Duncan. Taking it to the hole. in there. He does. 2.7. It's tied. And the Timberwolves will use their final timeout.
Oh, I'm happy I was wrong there. Tim Duncan taking the last shot. The Timberwolves calling timeout here. But not a lot of time left on the clock, especially for a young team. 2.7 isn't a whole lot. Great screen there by Michael Finley. Tim Duncan able to work off that screen and gets the tough one to go.
Wow. Tim with 24 points now. The Spurs tie it up at 106. At this point, pulling for overtime.
But that's okay.
Tim with an 18-point second half, 14 of those coming here in the fourth quarter. And Parker with 10 of his career-high 42 in the fourth. Spurs have a timeout remaining, so if they see something here they don't like,
you can call a timeout now. You know, they talked about during the huddle, you've got to switch everything here. You cannot miscommunicate and give somebody a wide open look.
Foye to inbounds. McCants on the far side with Mason on him. Gomes, Jefferson, and Miller in the lineup. Trying to go to Miller. To Bowen, timeout! Spurs get it back! Oh, mama! 2 seconds remaining. Miller could not get free, and Bruce Bowen, anticipating the pass, hopped out, and they threw it right to him.
That's a heads-up play there by Bruce. He's played his butt off all night on the defensive end. Hasn't gotten a lot of credit because Mike Miller's gotten double, triple screens. That time, they're anticipating which way Mike Miller's going. The ball comes right in the lap of Bruce Bowen.
So the Spurs with 2 seconds to go. Oh my gosh, how about a little last-second lightning here? Pick up your first win in this match.
That'd be nice. Bruce, I mean, he's right on top of it. As soon as he catches it, he calls timeout, and that's just a heads-up play there. A lot of players in this situation would probably try to dribble the basketball, heave a full-court shot. Instead, Bruce Bowen wisely calls timeout. The Spurs can now advance the basketball and run a half-court play here.
Spurs come back. Same group that they had on the last opportunity. Parker, Mason, Finley to inbounds, and then Duncan and Oberto. Same place, putting it in front of the scorer's table here on this side as Finley to put it in play. 2 seconds to go. Tie game. Parker just off the iron on the three. We will go to overtime.
I'm not sure Pop liked the way that play was executed. Matter of fact, I'm sure he didn't like the way that play was executed. Even though Tony Parker gets a decent attempt, I think that play, Pop would have liked Roger Mason to catch it there. Tony Parker steps out, but doesn't have a lot of time to shoot it.
One more time as we go to overtime for the first time this season. Tied at 106. Welcome back to the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Bill Land, Sean Elliott with you here as the Spurs on a Tim Duncan basket forced an overtime, and Minnesota with 2.7 turned it over. Spurs end up getting a shot to win the game, and Parker's one goes off the back iron. And we will go to the extra session as they put 5 minutes on the clock. And the Spurs, if they're going to get that first win, they're going to have to do a little OT to get it here, coming in 0-3 tonight.
Well, I can only guess here what the Spurs were trying to do, but you're going to see Timmy and Fab set a double screen for Roger Mason. He's going to come off, and then Tony comes off of Tim Duncan, but I want you to watch Timmy, because if he takes a step toward the basketball, he frees right there. I mean, Jefferson commits this way to help out on Roger Mason, and look at this space between Tim Duncan. Even though Tony comes to this area, Tim Duncan was wide open. He didn't even have to set the screen there. That's why Pop was angry there. The Spurs didn't execute that play the way he wanted.
I'm going to read jump, or nope, it was double touched, I think, by Minnesota, and it'll be Spurs basketball here. So the Spurs, after regulation, have shot 55% to 44% for the Timberwolves, but the Timberwolves 23-0 in second chance points is where they've made that up. And on a night, they've had 13 more shots, 40 of 90 to the Spurs, 42 of 77.
That was their entire fourth quarter, getting second chance points. Offensive rebounds and putbacks.
Tim with a miss here, and the rebound comes off, and Miller is fouled. Bruce Bowen. Fourth foul on Bruce Bowen. Parker with 42 tonight, 24 for Duncan, 22 for Roger Mason Jr. And through regulation, Miller and Jefferson leading them. Jefferson with 22, Miller with 23. Here is Jefferson against Roberto. Brewer to Telfair. Miller. Wow. A 2, and they take the lead, 108-106 here in overtime.
That's a very difficult shot there. Showing a little ball, frees himself up, one time on the floor, into his jump shot.
Roger Mason Jr. for 3 off the iron, and the rebound to Jefferson. Telfair, 3:57 to go in the extra session. Kevin Love gives to Miller. Wanting the screen, back to Love. Brewer. Spurs down 4, 110-106. Corey Brewer with 13. Parker. Duncan fighting for the board, winning the battle. No call, Tim. Resets to Mason. Plenty of time now on the shot clock, and Parker was right back to 21. Blocked by Love. Duncan comes down with it, finds Bowen. 8 seconds. Parker, 6 on the shot clock. 3, no. The Spurs have suddenly gone cold.
Tough shot there by Tim Duncan. Showed the ball to the shot clock, has got a piece of it. And Tony Parker's left to try to make something happen with the shot clock running down.
Spurs missed all 5 shots here in the first 2:08 of overtime. Jefferson. Duncan holding off for the rebound. Loose ball foul on Kevin Love. Love gets his second foul.
Kevin Love has been a horse here in this second half. It's just been, I'm tired watching him. I can only imagine the little guys and the effort they have to bring to the table to keep this guy off the offensive glass.
He's played 31 minutes in just his 4th game in the NBA, and he's been a huge factor with the points, 14, 7 rebounds, but just everywhere creating havoc.
And that's the rebounds that he's credited with.
Yeah.
You know, he's kept balls alive and enabled his team to get extra possessions. That's got to be a foul.
And the call is there.
And to Brewer's credit, even though Tony Parker's hung 40 and change on him, he's done a pretty good job down the stretch.
Parker with 42. Spurs out of bounds. 2:36 to go. Looking to Tim. Got a little push underneath. No call. 9 on the clock again. Parker with 5. Oh boy. Goodness. Got by Corey. Even Brewer's going, how did that happen?
He's checking his pocket for his keys right now. He got undressed.
Back to within 2 with 2:12 to go. Miller, Bowen in his shorts, out of bounds.
That's Spurs ball.
Yes! So Bruce Bowen again creates the turnover. Miller pleading his case to no avail.
Tell you what, Bruce only has 3 points in this ball game, but some big-time D. Look at keeping his hands active. It's like a cat out there.
There's a chance to tie. Roger Mason Jr. Back to Duncan. Bowen. 10 on the shot clock. To Parker. 7. Tony on the drive. Lost it. Spurs basketball.
Deflected.
Yep. They're never going to call a foul.
Tony Parker, beautiful crossover on Mike Miller. And there you see it. That's a break for the Spurs. Looked like that could have been called off Tony.
Finley on the inbounds. No. Duncan with a rebound. Back to Parker.
How about that? We get an offensive rebound. Those have been a rarity.
Duncan. Back to Mason. He is fouled by Sebastian Telfair, and he's done. That's his 6th foul. Telfair, as we mentioned earlier, has played one heck of a floor game. That's a big miss for them.
Mason putting it on the floor. That's a foul right there with that off arm already on Telfair. That's a good call.
Mason will go to the free throw line. Telfair will go to the bench. His first game of the season. And Telfair Spurs score here. They'll be their first second chance points of the night.
How about that?
Absolutely amazing.
Oh, that was one of the flaws in this ball club last year. They were not a great offensive rebounding group. But it shows tonight. At 2.
Through regulation, they're out-rebounded 10-2 on the offensive boards. Mason cuts it to a 1-point game. 110-109. Roger Mason Jr.'s career high 32 last year against Golden State while playing for the Wizards. And a Spur high, obviously, through the 4th game, as Mason with 23 points here tonight.
That just tells me that he wasn't getting enough shots in Washington because he's way too talented offensively to only have a career high of 32.
They had their own big 3. But Mason, huge part here. High game. Miller. Mason on him right now. Jefferson swings back against Duncan. Love with a tip in.
That's a push-off.
Loose ball foul. It's on Oberto, but it's before the shot.
That's a break.
Wow.
When you hear that whistle there, you're thinking, if you're a Minnesota fan, you're thinking it's a 3-point play.
Look at Love and Fabricio. How do you call anything at that point? They were literally locked up. It's a stalemate.
Yeah. All I need is a little bit of mud.
Break them up
wrestling
from the
out there.
Come out fighting.
It's on the line.
Traveling. And the Timberwolves have turned it over. Foye turns it over. 110-110. 1:05 to go as Randy Whitman pacing the sidelines for the T-Wolves. Desmond Farmer was going to come on. Instead, it is Bowen coming back, or else Desmond jumped the gun down there. Had been in all night.
I've done that before.
Looking down there, you know, those new players are going, me. Get going. Somebody's going, no, not you. So Bowen comes back. Here is Mason. Back to Tim against Jefferson. 54 seconds to go. Duncan's shot is good, and the Spurs, after being down 4, have scored 6 straight here to regain the lead. 112 to 110.
Yeah, Timmy might have gotten away with something there.
Well, they allowed Miller to double dribble.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You knew what I was talking about there. Dribbles the ball, trying to corral it before this shot. And I said it earlier about Al Jefferson. The same thing applies with Tim Duncan in the low block. This is the best power forward to ever play the game. The game is on the line, Minnesota. You're going to leave him without a double team? Al Jefferson's going to get abused in the low block.
Tim with 26 now and 15 rebounds. He and Parker came in averaging 52, and tonight they've only got 70. And Mason with 24, so 94 from that version of the Big Three as Kevin McHale looks on. All right, put yourself back in that Minnesota huddle now, Sean, with 51 seconds to go, down 2.
Plenty of time.
Yeah.
Plenty of time. You just got to take your time. You got to execute. The ball's probably going to go through Al Jefferson or Mike Miller. Those guys have had the hot hand here in this ball game. But if Al Jefferson catches it, we've got to disrupt him somehow. He can't be allowed to work in the low block. You look at Al Jefferson, he looks like somebody locked him in big man's camp for about a month. His footwork is exceptional in the low block. He's going to score down there no matter who you put on him.
So, Minnesota Try to tie it up again as the Spurs' big three of the night. Parker, career best 44, the double-double, go 10 assists with it. Mason, 24 points on 8 of 14 from the floor, and Mason 6 of 6 from the line. And then Duncan, who in the first half had 6 points, a 20-point second half plus OT explosion for Tim, and why he is the great player that he is. He never lets him affect how he plays, no matter how long the drought may go.
That's exactly right. He just continues to play.
Started off 3 of 11.
Well, you can imagine it's almost near a 30-point game, the way he started out.
Here is Miller. Duncan comes to help inside Jefferson.
That's a travel.
And a foul is called.
A good foul there by Roger Mason. He's on top of it defensively. He's not going to allow Al Jefferson to get an easy one. There you see Bruce Bowen and Tim Duncan trying to corral Mike Miller. He's left all alone, but Roger Mason is in the right spot. Great rotation.
Tim tried to hustle back. Mason comes over to force the foul. And Jefferson at the line with 22 points and 14 rebounds of his own. And Jefferson now 5 of 8 from the free throw line. And a point away from tying it up again. Spurs were tied at the end of the first quarter at 18, trailed by 4 at the half, led by 3 after 3. It was 106 all at the end of regulation. The T-Wolves got the first 4, the Spurs the next 6, and now the Timberwolves to tie it again. Yes. 11th tie of the game. 112, timeout Spurs now. A 20-second timeout with 43 seconds to go.
I like this timeout. You come out, you get a set play, you drill it into everybody's heads. There's no excuse not to execute. You come down, you get one of the big 3 tonight, the basketball.
Where the Spurs have shot 51%, the Timberwolves 45%. The Timberwolves second chance points heavily in their favor, and both teams well done at the free throw line. 83% for the Spurs and 81% for the Timberwolves.
This is our house, Minnesota, so let's make sure they know we're here.
Pop will send back Parker, Duncan, Bowen, Mason, and Finley.
I'm interested if the Spurs are thinking 2 for 1 here, or they're going to really take their time and run the clock down. I would guess that they're going to try to get the first good available shot.
Bowen inbounds to Tony Parker. 19-second differential. Game clock, shot clock in overtime. Spurs down 2. Duncan against Jefferson. The rebound comes off to Brewer.
Oh, you got what you wanted there. Terrific effort. And Tim is kicking himself and missing that one.
Spurs tied. I think I said down 2. Beg your pardon there. Timberwolves trying to take the lead at 112. Miller, no. Rebound. And a foul on the Spurs. Yes. From Roger Mason Jr. His 4th. So with 15 seconds to go, now the Timberwolves have a chance to take the lead.
I'll take a look at it. Spurs catch a break there, in and out. And there's no foul there. Are you kidding me? I see Roger Mason there. I mean, you're fighting for the game. Brewer's not going to get that rebound anyways.
Wow. So Brewer to the line.
That's mind-boggling, that one.
Brewer is perfect tonight. 4 of 4 on that one. Hasn't missed the season as he came in 2 of 2. He's got 12 points in the 4th quarter in overtime after just 2 points through the first 3 quarters.
That's not a foul there. Now you're talking about the guts of the game, the last 20 seconds of the ball game. That's a gift.
And the timeout Spurs now down a pair. 114, 112, and 15 seconds to go.
Well, you get in at 2 in the morning here. Looks like we're going to get back at 2 in the morning.
That's right.
You know, I'm betting on double overtime.
Well, we'd take that at the moment, wouldn't we?
Yes, we would.
All right, as the Spurs, you haven't been with us all night. You've missed one heck of a basketball game. I'll tell you what, as the ebb and flow of this one has gone, and the Spurs looked like they were going to get their first win in regulation. They were up 102-97, and then a quick 6-point run by the Timberwolves, and the fight was on, and it ended up tied at 106. Duncan getting the last bucket for the Spurs. Spurs down 4 in the OT, got 6 straight, and now 4 straight for the Timberwolves. Spurs down to 15 seconds to go. Udoka to inbounds here to Mason. Parker, Finley, and Duncan also on the floor. Finley with 11 seconds to go. Driving back to Duncan. Fakes, goes up, and is fouled. They're going to make Tim Duncan beat him with the free throw line.
That's a great play there by Michael Finley. Doesn't try to force the action, draws the defense, drops it off to Tim Duncan. See Al Jefferson commit. Great ball fake there by Tim. He gets himself 2 free throws.
7.4 to go. Duncan, 4-5 tonight. 26 points, 15 rebounds. .114, 113. Oberto for Finley. Bowen for Udoka. Duncan with 15 points in the 4th quarter and extra session. 7.4 ticks remaining here in overtime. Spurs down 1. Tim ties it at 114. 2 clutch free throws. Now the Spurs got to go get a stop at the other end.
I tell you what, you just want to keep the ball out of the hands of Mike Miller or Al Jefferson here. It's going to be almost impossible, but both those guys are not afraid to take a big shot, especially Mike Miller. He's had plenty of game winners in his career.
Well, the Spurs even at 114, and Miller tonight, after averaging just 11 points a game through the first 3 and 1 of 8 in 3-point shooting, Miller tonight has come alive, hitting 5 threes, and Miller with 25 points on the night. Yeah, I guess the Spurs need to run that out-of-bounds play defensively again, where Bowen dupes him and says, throw it to me, right?
Exactly. Then you'll have about 7 seconds left. Then you can run a proper play.
So, Timberwolves basketball, chance to win it in overtime. Spurs will come back with Parker guarding the inbounds, Foye, Duncan on Jefferson, Bowen hugging Miller, Udoka with Gomes. Here's Miller, right to Jefferson, 5 seconds.
Come down and help.
Jefferson, 2.5 to go. Jefferson, 26th point of the night, and a Timberwolves lead of 2.
We talked about that jump hook in the open. And once he gets it low enough, it doesn't matter who's guarding him. He just knows how to put the ball in the basket. Beautiful step through and hits the bottom.
Good play, good recognition, good spacing.
Yeah, I mean, you go to your franchise players in this situation, and he's able to deliver. He's got terrific touch around the basket. That jump hook is his signature shot.
And the Spurs with 2.5 to get it at midcourt again.
You can advance it. Now you got to get a much better shot. Obviously, a 2-pointer gets you into overtime. 3-pointer wins the ball game, but you don't have a lot of time to look at it, whoever catches the basketball. You have enough time, though, to catch the ball and penetrate to the basket, and that fact can't be lost. Last time Tony caught the basketball, he caught it with 2 seconds left, jacked up a shot. 2 seconds is plenty of time for you to catch the ball beyond the 3-point line and still get to the basket.
Spurs have used their final timeout. Minnesota does have one remaining.
Let's do it.
They see something that they want to tinker with defensively. Pop will send out Parker, Duncan, Finley, Mason, and Ime Udoka. Udoka for the inbound. Down 2 in overtime. 2.5 seconds remaining here at the target center. Udoka to inbounds. To Parker. For the tie.
That's good.
Got it! Tony Parker with a deuce! Oh, mama! How about that?
You could tell as soon as it left his hands. Just a terrific shot by Tony Parker. He's unconscious right now.
Who's gonna blink? 116, 116. We don't want to go home.
You could see it as soon as it left his hands. He's just shooting the ball with so much confidence. Little step through, take that. Brewer's been all over him all night long, and I know that feeling. When a guy just has it going on, and that ball doesn't even look at the rim on its way through. Just nothing but net.
Wow. 46 for Parker. Ain't enough yet. 116, 116. Wow. Welcome back, Spurs basketball on Fox Sports Southwest. What a ball game. Double overtime coming up here in Minneapolis thanks to Tony Parker's game-tying shot.
And there you see Tony right here. He's going to rub Brewer off 2 screens, catches the ball, and contrary to the last time he had 2 seconds left in this ball game, he's going to take a dribble, free himself up. Last time he caught the basketball with 2 seconds, he jacked up a quick shot. He takes his time. Look how calm he is on this shot. No rush in his effort whatsoever. A simple step through, puts on the floor one time and drains it. Just a beautiful move by Tony Parker. Slides his left foot a little bit, but no one notices. All we know is we're going into double overtime. And there's Tim Duncan with a beer in his hand. Or a fan with a Tim Duncan jersey.
Excuse me. Spurs fans are here in the Great North in Minnesota. Parker with a career-high 46. Duncan, 28. And Mason, 24 for the Spurs.
Tony got wind of Amari Stoudemire's 51-point game, and he's trying to top him.
Let's hope he does, as the Spurs will send Duncan against Jefferson here for the extra frame. Again, Miller comes up with it. Foye to Miller. Back to Kevin Love.
That's gotta be a walk.
Blocked by Duncan. Love got it back. No good. Finley with a rebound.
Like Love traveled on that initial move to the basket. Give him another one, Tony.
In the lane. Got it.
There you go.
48.
All he has to do is get in the lane. Who's going to get to that teardrop? You have to time it just right, and only a few guys in this league have enough talent and athletic ability to get to that teardrop.
The miss by Brewer. Oberto with a rebound. Parker to bring it back. 4:11 to go in second overtime.
Give him another one. Set that screen. Let him get in the lane once again.
Parker against Brewer again. Nearly lost his balance. 10 on the shot clock. Tony on the drive. The teardrop got it again.
Deja vu.
What did Avery used to say? 5-0! 5-0! He wasn't talking about Tony Parker, but we'll take it.
We'll take 50.
Unbelievable. Foye.
I don't care who you are. You score 50 in a ball game, you got game.
Jefferson brings them back within a pair. 120, 118. Al Jefferson with 28.
Run that same play until they figure it out. I like that teardrop. Here he comes. Sets up Brewer. Come on out there, Timmy. Set a screen on him. Get in the lane once again.
To Roger Mason Jr. for 3. Swirls out. Tim pokes it. Comes off to Foye.
I like the action anyways.
Everybody in the building thinking Tony was going to shoot. Nice dish. Mason nearly hit it.
You can't ask for a better shot.
Foye for three.
That's off.
Love tapped it, but thankfully to Tony Parker. Spurs by 2, double overtime. Inside 3 minutes to go. Subs coming in on a whistle. Parker again, the jumper. Love for the rebound.
Okay, you live with that shot. That was in and out. You don't mind Tony taking every one down the stretch here. If he's not going to make it, he's going to set somebody else up for an open attempt.
Love 8 rebounds tonight with his 14-point performance. Great feed by Foye, and Jefferson shovels it in. We're tied at 120. This is just like the first overtime, except the roles reversed. One team getting a couple, the other team answering. 2:14 to go. Second OT. Parker on the drive. Drops it off Roberto. Back out to Mason for the 2, and he hits it. Spurs lead 122-120. Roger Mason Jr. with 26.
He's had an outstanding performance tonight.
See if they go back to Jefferson. Always looking for Miller. Jefferson's got 8 of their last 10. Here is Brewer. Jefferson against Duncan.
That's out.
Rebound, Finley. Michael showing still got the hops at age 35.
He did kind of get up for that one, didn't he?
1:28 to go. 10 on the shot clock. Tony on the drive. Got it again. And Parker with 52. Spurs by 4.
Randy Foye left his jock out there on the court.
Well, he isn't the first. Nor will he be the last against that guy.
He got crossed over something terrible. Tony Parker's going to lull him to sleep and watch his crossover. Uh-oh. Kevin Love, you're in time to make my card.
Parker, 8 of the last 10 for the Spurs.
That's the second time now Randy Foye gets caught that I've seen. He's standing straight up and down. You can't afford to do that with Tony Parker. If your knees aren't bent, he's going to destroy you on the perimeter. You're standing straight up on the perimeter and you're guarding Tony Parker. I mean, that's going to make Randy Whitman pull his hair out in film session.
Well, we're getting some stats here. Thank you, Daniel Ashcraft. 12 times 50-point scorers in Spurs history. George Gervin 4 times. David Robinson 3. Tim Duncan 1. Terry Cummings 1. Can you guess the other?
Manu. No, Manu had 48.
He had 44. He had 44 here. He had 48 for career.
Give me a second. Larry Keenan.
Oh, I should have said it. Yeah, you were there. He had 51 against Detroit, and 1980. Tony Parker tonight with 52.
Wow.
So take that, Stoudemire.
That's right. That's the high game for the night.
I think Tony would say, you know what? I don't care now. Just give me the W.
Absolutely. If you score 52 in an intramural game, you got skills. Much less an NBA game. Wow.
And that also, by the way, has broken the Target Center scoring record that was held by none other than
David Robinson.
Had 50 here back in '94. So Tony Parker says, move over to the Admiral.
52 and 10. And look at the field goal percentage. It's off the charts. And not all those are layups. There are 3-point balls mixed in there in between games, 15-foot, 16-foot jumpers.
But still 1:22 to go now as Foye with it here. T-Wolves trying to come back again, down 4. They go right back to Jefferson. Fab comes to help. They rotate to Foye. He fires and got it.
That's okay. 2. You make somebody else beat you.
And especially Randy Foye, who had been in a horrible shooting slump coming in. 3 of 24 in the previous 2 games. Foye tonight is 4 of 10. Here is Mason Jr. Looking to Fab, knocked away. Duncan puts it right back up and in.
Great hands by Timmy. In the right place at the right time.
He's got 30. 126-122, 43 seconds to go. Second overtime. Jefferson against Duncan. Foye for 3 and got this one. 1-point game. 126, 125 with 35 seconds to go. What a confidence builder that has to be for Foye. He's been struggling with his shooting. He hits the deuce, and then he hits the three.
Well, we said you make somebody else beat you, but you don't give them a wide open look like that.
Timeout called. You're not going anywhere. See you in a second. All right, here's the deal. Second overtime, 35.4 seconds to go. Spurs with the ball and leading it by 126-125. Boy, how many more big shots can be made in this game?
Oh, we just need a couple more. One more ought to do it. In this situation right now, when you have 35 seconds left, you can go 2 for 1. You can take a good shot, the first available good shot, but at the same time, if you miss it, you don't have to foul. The pressure is still on the Timberwolves to score the basketball.
But you do want to make sure you get what you want here.
You don't want to force anything. You don't want to take a bad shot for the sake of trying to get 2 shots for 1.
Spurs return with Duncan, Mason, Udoka, Finley, and Tony Parker. 52 points for Tony Parker, 30 for Tim Duncan, 26 for Roger Mason, and Jefferson with 30 the other way, Miller 25. Duncan. Parker going for 2. Off the iron. Duncan kept alive. Mason the rebound. He'll bring it out.
Bring it back out.
Finley for 3. Mason the rebound. They don't need to shoot at this point. 21
take
seconds.
your time.
Take your time here. And Finley really didn't need to take that shot because there was only about 2 seconds differential at that point.
He didn't, and Timmy's letting him know right now. They're discussing it. Michael Finley says, my bad.
Spurs ball, 19 seconds remaining. On a night when the Spurs were begging for offensive rebounds, they get 2 huge
in the same
offensive
possession.
rebounds.
But right now, you just want to get in your best free throw shooter's hands.
And Parker is fouled here by Brewer with 19 seconds to go.
I tell you what, you win the ball game, all's forgiven. But Michael Finley let that ball go. Pop almost had a coronary.
And thank goodness Fab wasn't on the floor because he's already got an irregular heartbeat. Here is Tony Parker.
I think that beard's gotten longer during this game. Get in there.
We've all grown one during this game. Double overtime. Spurs by 2 now.
How about the big rebound by Roger Mason? Tim Duncan keeps that ball alive. There you see it. And there's that second shot by Michael Finley. Mason gets another rebound.
Tony, 2 huge free throws to give the Spurs the 3-point lead, and now you know what you've got to defend against, although Minnesota quick 2.
They got to go for the first available shot here.
Yeah.
Because you miss the shot, and then you have to, obviously you have to foul. You're down 3. You have to basically start saying your prayers.
But if you're Minnesota, you take a quick 2 and foul. I'm trying to go for it again.
I'm trying to go for a quick 2. Yeah, absolutely. Not necessarily a 3-ball. And if you're the Spurs, you protect that 3-point line. Make them score inside the arc. A contested jump shot. And I would guess that Minnesota needing a quick 2 here, they're going to go directly to Al Jefferson. He's going to make a quick move.
54 points for Tony Parker. The T-Wolves.
Yeah, 52 or 54?
54. 54 for Parker. And
now he's just showing off.
He's hit 8 of 8 from the free throw line on a night where the Spurs are 22 of 26 for 85%. And the Timberwolves will come back with Foye, McCants, Gomes, Miller, and of course Al Jefferson. And again, remember, they're down 2 with 19 seconds to go in double overtime. Down 3, I should say, 128-125.
Just don't give up a 3-ball.
Hard keeping track tonight. Okay, we'll see. You know they're always going to look for Miller here. McCants certainly has that range. Watch him after the inbounds.
Or a 3-point play. And if a guy gets you in the wrong way, foul him.
Miller, McCants for 3 in the tie.
That's out.
No. Rebound. Parker's got it. And he is fouled with 8.4 to go.
Ime Udoka quietly gets away with a grab.
Boy, did he.
On the jersey of Gomes.
They can't review that, can they?
No.
Okay.
We're not asking him to. And, you know, this is interesting to me here, Bill, because I may be wrong, but I can't remember the last time that McCants was in the ball game. I mean, he's got to be cold, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, you guys can look at that stat.
He's only played 15 minutes. He was in at some point there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but he hasn't played in any of his overtimes.
No.
And he comes off the bench, and to ask him to make that shot, I got to question that.
Parker with a miss. Duncan keeps it alive. 6 seconds to go. They don't foul him. Oh, my. Mason with 3 seconds to go. Still no foul. Spurs win. Spurs win. Oh, mama. The Spurs finally get a win.
Wow. If that's what it takes to get a win in this league.
What's the second one going to be like?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my
I'm exhausted.
goodness. 129. 125, and the Spurs escape Minnesota here. What a contest. Tony Parker, an unbelievable night as the Spurs win it here in double overtime. Stay tuned. Spurs Live with exclusive post-game sound, highlights, and analysis right here on Fox Sports Southwest.